Even Yiguchen, the creator of the Heavenly Traveler, must politely call him elder brother. It turned out that he awakened the system of the highest sect. If he manages to accept a disciple, he will be able to summon powerful beings from the heavens. The man's name is Wang Feng. In his previous life he was an office worker, suddenly died and found himself on the continent of Mystic Azure, where cultivators are respected and mortals are destined to work hard. Wang Feng had just arrived and had not yet settled in when an influential immortal cultivation magnate deliberately collided with him. He had no choice but to fulfill the requirements, to establish a sect and find a disciple within 3 days in a single straw hut. A fat man came to the entrance of the sect. It turned out that he had climbed the mountains seeking refuge in a sect to get married, but no sect wanted to accept him. He came to the newly created Divine Immoral Sect by Wang Feng with his last spark of hope. But then he noticed an unexpected lackey clinging to his leg. The fat man curiously asked, "Who are you?" "I am truly the master of this divine and moral sect. My name is Wang Feng. You have a unique bone structure and a 1 in a million talent for cultivation. After careful consideration, I am ready to take you as my disciple. This supposedly sacred immoral sect is just a pathetic straw hut. By your attire, you do not look like a good person. But the dying have no starting point." Van Feng embraced the fat man, and after a long 2 minutes of persuasion, fans imagine themselves as immortals who save girls in distress. Van Feng, seeing that the task was about to be completed, also smiled slyly. He asked himself a deep question. What if I cannot become immortal? I cannot eat less. You must guarantee me large portions at every meal. Faced with numerous unfounded demands from the fatty, Van Feng wanted to slap him, but seeing that time was up, he reluctantly agreed. The fat man finally relaxed and released his grip upon hearing this. As soon as the bag fell, the system announced the successful activation of the Supreme Sex System and offered Long Feng to open the attribute panel to see the rewards. Fatty hugged him tightly and boasted that the mentor was very kind, not only accepting him, but also spoiling him. Even my mother was never so kind to me. Meanwhile, Wang Feng just wanted to check his rewards. He was only disappointed with the characteristics of his character. No cultivation, no physical form, no bloodline. The summoning could call upon powerful beings from all heavens, connected to the sect and ready to teach its followers. Van Feng recalled how he was very poor when he first arrived in this land. He did not hesitate to use his summoning chance. In a moment, a young man with white hair appeared. He hurriedly ran inside to inform Long Feng, but saw that he was calmly drinking tea. Fetty pointed to the street and told Brother, the sect master, that it was unclear how he could be in the mood for tea when there seemed to be an apocalypse outside. Excited, Van Feng ran outside and discovered that the silver-haired youth was none other than the ruler of the cloud-white city, Yiguchen. Van Feng was embarrassed because in this world everything depends on the cultivation level, and Yiguchen was a swordmaster, and it was unclear if he could withstand a fight here. Opening Yiguchen's attribute panel, he said mockingly that the elder Yi was only at the marquee level peak. This revelation frightened Fetty. Throughout the Solar Flame Empire, the leading kingdom was considered the elite. Seeing Fatty's reaction, Van Feng calmed down. A strong person is strong everywhere. At that moment, Yiguchen approached Van Feng and bowed respectfully. "I am Yiguchen. Greetings, Sect Master." This shattered Fetty's worldview. He had lived many years and had never seen a leading player in the realm bow to anyone. Van Feng inquired with the system about another lottery opportunity. Learning that the lottery can extract cumulative traits from someone's constitution, bloodline, or cultivation level, and transfer them to sect disciples or the owner himself, Wang Feng rejoiced and said that this allows him to start right from where he stands. Unexpectedly, Wang Feng received 10 of Yegucheng's cultivation level in the lottery. The system offered him a choice to use it for himself or give it to a sect disciple. Wang Feng thought that since he was still immortal, there was no point in improving the disciple without first strengthening himself. According to the system, inheriting 10 of Yegucheng's cultivation, he could rise to the early stages of the Ascend Chancellor level. However, Wang Feng was not confident in the power of this level, so he asked Fetty about the classification of immortality cultivation levels. Fetty told him that this world is divided into 10 main levels: foundation laying, mystical veins, communication with spirits, mystical general, ascended chancellor, marquis, mystical emperor, mystical admirer, mystical sage, and supreme mystic. Although Wang Feng was dissatisfied that the Ascend Chancellor level was only the 5th, he admitted that it was better than remaining immortal. Breaking through, Wang Feng felt his body filled with power. Fetty, seeing this transformation, was stunned again and thought that this incredibly talented sect leader appeared out of nowhere, so he must firmly seize this mighty power. Bowing, He promised to train diligently so as not to let down the sect master. Meanwhile, a young girl appeared in the sky, sitting on the back of a bird. Noticing Van Fen's attention, Yi Guqing assumed that this woman is a cultivator, and her foundation and cultivation level are extraordinary. Since she looks like a practitioner with a solid base and a high level of cultivation, flying above our divine sect, she should be greeted. Elder Yi, you should call her. He stuck it into the ground, called out that he did not know who was traveling above, and asked to come down for a meeting. Then he quickly drew his sword, and a gust of wind rose. Van Fen, impressed by such a magnificent spectacle, expressed surprise whether this is how martial arts masters greet each other. The woman's face instantly turned pale. Stepping onto the white bird, she abruptly stopped before the hurricane. At that moment, a flyer flew before her eyes, and she thought it was some hidden weapon. Suddenly, Yi Guqing loudly warned, "Do not destroy my sexual property." Saying this, he slowly drew a long sword, and with one swing at the flying creature instantly focused a wave of sword energy. When they stuck this on her face, she fell to the ground. To make Van Fen notice the raw power of Guqing, Fatty was ordered to go and greet her. The fat man tiptoed up to the woman and asked, "Honorable Immortal, are you all right?" Seeing this, Yi Guqi withdrew the spiritual power from the flying device. Wang Feng approached calmly. "This is not trash. This is a postcard from my divine immoral sect." Then he asked if this was the divine immorality sect. "Yes, I am the master of this sect," replied Wan Fen. At that moment, the system greeted the host for detecting a genius. Launch a new mission, recruit 10 disciples for the corresponding summons, and use lottery chances 10 times. I just recruited Fetty, an insignificant person, and the exchange Gaiguchen, a great sword master. And if I manage to make this woman a disciple, it will elevate me to the sky. Then he addressed the woman, young, and said that she had extraordinary bones. She was a cultivation genius 1 in a million. After careful consideration by the sect master, before he could finish, Wan Fen was a little embarrassed, because this woman could fly riding a bird and had extraordinary strength. So such a trick would work with the fatty, but not with her. And suddenly she said that the announcement said that the divine immoral sect takes disciples, and asked if she was suitable. Wan Fen was pleasantly surprised, and did not expect such luck to fall into his hands. The system informed him that if the other party does not pay the entrance fee, the recruitment will not be considered successful. Reluctantly, Wan Feng said that although you are interested in joining the sect, you must follow the rules of the divine immoral sect. So give all the available money as an entrance fee. The woman used her most powerful Kui Pli move, and addressed the sect master, explaining that she was in a hurry and did not take money, so she asks to be allowed to pay later. As everything unfolded, Wan Feng, who had been alone for more than 20 years, could not resist. But due to the mandatory system requirements, he thought about refusing. Suddenly, a group of burly men appeared behind the woman, teasing her, calling her little beauty, and reproaching her for not running away. "Even your father can no longer protect you now, and these two-legged apes will not help you at all." The woman immediately hid behind Wang Feng and replied to Lin Eunuch, "Don't to be so arrogant, because I am now a follower of the divine immoral sect, and before our master you have no right to continue such inhuman acts." Lin Yuni laughed loudly among several apes. "Know that all the dogs and slaves I have raised have reached the level of mystic general." Meanwhile, Wang Feng thought that he was counting on easy prey, but it turned out that it went to others, so the recruitment of disciples this time will be difficult. But the fatty broke the silence and calmed his younger sister, saying not to be afraid. "This is only the level of mystic general. Our sect master will defeat them with one finger." The minions who were listening gritted their teeth in anger and wanted to tear Fatty apart immediately. "This fatty constantly causes problems, and I am at a higher level. I have no practical combat experience. I am afraid I will lose and ruin my great plan for recruiting disciples." The woman got ahead of him and said, "Thank you, sect master, for saving me." Seeing the situation, Wang Fen could only calm down, saying that no one here would offend you with me. But he seemed to have forgotten about Iguchin. Now Lin Eunuch clearly lost patience and will no longer tolerate your antics. "Kill them for me," he ordered, and several of his minions rushed at Wang Feng. It seems that in the world of immortality cultivation, one level higher really matters. It would be too shameful to fight them in front of my students. In just 0.5 seconds, he destroyed all the minions. The woman nearby was very shocked. Even mystical beings of the general level in the Empire of the Solar Flame are considered higher than the average level. To instantly kill 5 mystical generals, he must have reached the Marquis level. Meanwhile, Lin Yunyi was sweating heavily, and clearly did not want to resort to such a step. Then he clasped his hands in supplication. "Elder, Lin Yunyi was blind and did not recognize the majestic person. Please spare me. I promised to leave and ask my father, the Marquis with the long title, to prepare a generous gift for you. However, Wang Feng was not impressed, no matter who your father is. If he dares to come, I will destroy him without hesitation. Hearing the name Long-Scale Marquis, the woman gritted her teeth in anger. The manor of the Long-Scale Marquis holds enormous power. Lin Tianshen. The Long-Scale Marquis not only has cultivation at the Marquis level, but also commands a legion of 500 long-scale warriors and many experienced generals at the Chancellor Ascendant level. Their strength is comparable to some medium sects, so they can commit various abuses. They pursued me, and I had to flee. However, this divine immortal master of the sect does not even consider the long-scale Marquis' mansion worth attention. Perhaps he really can avenge me. Wang Feng, surprised by the sudden bow, quickly asked what was going on, and why such solemnity, to which he, addressing Master, replied that he initially joined the divine immoral sect to find refuge from disaster. Now I am confident that you, Master, will be able to defend justice for the Lin family. The interested Wang Feng asked what your grievance was against the disciple Lin Yuni, and during the walk they met Lin Yuni, the young master of the Marquis estate of Longclaw. He pursued my beauty and tried to disgrace me, but I escaped by locking myself in. I thought that was the end of it. Returning home, I found that Lin Yunyi had brought influential people from his estate, and they slaughtered hundreds of members of my Lin family. I managed to survive only thanks to my father's desperate defense. Hostility over the murder of my father cannot exist under one sky. If I could take revenge personally, I would dedicate everything to the sect leader from this day on. Rest assured, whether you are a follower of this sect or not, I will achieve justice in this matter. He thrust his hands into the ground, raised a cloud of dust, and took the opportunity to escape. Wang Feng, watching Lin Yunyi's escape attempt, was not confused, and noted that usually villains in manga either stubbornly resist or beg for mercy. But this man does not follow the usual script. He calmed the agitated little Wu beside him. Don't worry, as long as Elder Yi is here, he won to be able to escape. By Wang Feng's order, Yi Guchun slowly summoned a rising rainbow, and in a moment his body was filled with white energy. The surrounding people were suspended in the air. Wang Feng mentally grumbled that Lily always puts on such a show when he acts, and decided to talk to him about it next time. Meanwhile, Yi Guchun jumped high, and instantly appeared above Lin Yunyi. Yi Guchun applied the Heavenly Traveler technique and sent a stream of white energy rushing straight to Lin Yunyi's head, accompanied by screams. When Lin Yunyi and his subordinates fell to the ground, a jade pendant simultaneously flew out from his chest. According to the will of Master SEC, young Master Lin paid the price. Little Wu was stunned. I knew from the very beginning that Yaguchi was strong, but I did not expect him to be so formidable, especially considering that the Heavenly Traveler had just moved. Even if a high-ranking Marquis himself came, he would hardly stand firm and remain unharmed before such an elder. The divine sect of immortals should be known everywhere, but I have never heard of it. At that moment, Wang Feng interrupted her thoughts. I know that at first you wanted to join the divine immoral sect to survive, but I sincerely want to take you as my disciple. However, our sect is large and hidden, so decide after getting to know us. Watching little Wu's excited face, one could not help but feel proud. I am truly a popular manga author, skillfully leading the plot. At that moment, little Wu extended the jade pendant, a family relic of the Lin clan, and said he wanted to give it as an entry fee in gratitude for your great service in today's revenge. Wang Feng, examining the medallion, wondered if the system would recognize it as payment for entry, and decided to try. This jade pendant turned out to be very important to her, a talisman passed down to her by her father, intended for future betrothal. After Van Feng accepted little Wu as a disciple, he also received system rewards, including a challenge and a chance in the lottery. Now, as a disciple of the divine and moral sect, your enemies have become opponents of sects. Hearing Wang Feng's words, little Wu's eyes filled with murderous intent. Slowly approached Linuni, who lay like a dead dog. The enmity that seeks to annihilate my family is as deep as a sea of blood. If I do not avenge this, I will not be worthy to be the young lady of the Lin clan. After this, she stabbed Lin Yuni's chest with a branch. Lin Yuni, you took my ancestral jade pendant and teased me. Have you ever thought about today? A slightly unrestrained and fierce behavior frightened the fat man nearby, the sect master and younger sister. Father, today little Wu personally avenged you. Now you can rest in peace. At the same time, the system congratulated the inner disciple Lin Feivu for killing a powerful warrior of the mystical general level and awarded him 300 sect points. Having avenged, little Wu fell to her knees and thanked the sect master and Elder Yi for helping to avenge this blood feud. From now on, In life and in death, she belongs to the sect of divine immortals. The sect only provides a platform for cultivation, and whether you can become a true power ultimately depends only on you, replied Van Fen, helping little Wu to stand. Remember that our divine immortal sect fears no one. If there is a blood feud, no matter how powerful the enemy is, we will quickly eliminate him. While Wang Fan was speaking, little Wu paused for a moment in thought, determined not to disappoint the expectations of the sect's mentor. Wan Fen, pleased with himself, thought that he was truly a popular manga author and understood human feelings well. Now that I have boasted so boldly, I need to decide what to teach her, because she is not like Fetty, who easily believes empty promises of quick advancement. It was then that Elder Yi stepped forward. Do you practice swordsmanship? Little Wu immediately bowed respectfully. Yes, Elder Yi. Wang Fong, noticing the opportunity, quickly pushed her forward, because an old man agreeing to take a student is rarer than a blooming stone. So don't hesitate, foolish girl. Little Wu immediately dropped to his knees and made a ritual bow. The student greets the master. Your sword stance is worthy of praise, but before teaching you techniques, we must first heal the internal injuries you received during the pursuit. Rise and follow me to heal your wounds. Wan Feng felt satisfaction. At first, there was only me in the sect. Now we have not only Elder Yi, but also the talented disciple Lin Feiwu. And the best part is that I won't have to teach her myself. This is wonderful. Chubby, somewhat depressed, thought that his younger sister came after him and now became a student of such an influential person as Elder Yi, and as the senior student, he could not allow her to surpass him. Turning back to Wang Feng, he asked the sect master what his further plans were regarding me. Wang Feng patted Fetty's belly and said that he needed to lose some weight. Go and clean around the straw hut, tidy it up a bit. This is the face of our divine and moral sect. I humbly began pulling out weeds, grumbling to myself they lured me with big promises and treated me like a treasure. But as soon as the younger sister appeared, I became just grass. Meanwhile, Wang Feng was happily reviewing his awards and imagining whom he could summon now that he had hired little Wu. Noticing that the limit was 5 elders, he decided to postpone his summoning. His attention was drawn to the sect items on the interface. Interested, he asked about their purpose. The system reports that SEC points can be used not only to participate in the lottery, but also to improve the system itself. And as the level increases, it allows the master to summon more powerful figures, obtain artifacts, and accept more disciples. Intrigued, the Long Phone asked how to earn sect points, completing system tasks, defeating enemies, and attracting the best talents to the sect. Wang Feng was embarrassed because little Lo's cultivation level for her age should have made her a top talent, but her joining did not add any sect points. Unexpectedly, the system recognized that little Wu did not meet the criteria of a top talent, and it turned out that the system considered him mediocre in abilities, but classified him at the highest level because he was the master of the system. The system reported that the study of Fatty S abilities would cost 100 sect points. Although the price seemed too high, curiosity prevailed, and he press-checked the system impressed Wang Feng Fetty was ranked among the top prodigies, and the system claimed that he had the mystical stature of the Turley Sage, which was simply not yet activated. Wan Feng, confused by the discovery about the Fat Man's constitution, asked what exactly this mystical Turtle Sage constitution meant. The system explained that the mystical body of the Turtle Sage is one of the strongest special constitutions in the world, and it grants absolute protection and eternal life. As long as they are not killed completely, they can live forever. The most frightening thing is that their innate defensive power allows them to travel freely even when the sky and earth are collapsing. Wan Feng was stunned this fat man has such an incredible stature. If he perfects it, he could become immortal. Deciding to raise Fetty, he imagined the advantage in battles, using him as an impenetrable shield. But the main question was how to activate the mystical Turtle Sage body of Fetty. Meanwhile, Fetty, unsuspecting, admired himself and considered himself the most handsome and strongest man on the continent of Mystic Azure. This extremely cheeky act made the system want to hit him, who noted that to activate the mystical body of the Turtle Sage, one must endure beatings. Only by enduring beatings can one activate and fully awaken the bloodline. Wang Feng, hearing this, could not contain his admiration. I planned to search for rare and valuable treasures, but it turned out that simply beating him was enough. Quite simple. I can arrange for little Wu to do it, making sure she doesn't overdo it. Thanks to his natural constitution, he should recover quickly. Fear made him cling to Wang Feng's leg. He turned to the sect master, asking what was happening with that cyclone in the sky, and Wang Feng himself was not sure, and it turned out that the atmospheric anomaly indicated minor woos and the approach of a breakthrough into the general mystical dimension. a consequence of Yaguchi's healing session. He told Fetty that it was a sign that your younger sister would soon make a breakthrough. I was stunned that my younger sister Fetty, having joined the divine immoral sect, not only became a disciple of the formidable Iguchen, but in less than a day found herself on the verge of a breakthrough. I am still an ordinary person, and if this continues, I might even lose the title of senior disciple. Wang Feng, seeing that Fanny was depressed, pinched him. Don T, lose heart. Tomorrow I will start your training. You can quite possibly surpass your younger sister over time if you can endure it. Fetty, hitting his chest as a sign of confidence, replied, Thank you, Sect Master. Don't worry, I will endure it. I look forward to seeing the commotion you will make when you break through into the sphere of the mystical general. No one knew that the noise from Little Wu's breakthrough attracted the attention of a recently awakened demon cultivator. I did not imagine that after centuries of sleep I would wake up and find a mystical snack from another world. I felt impatience. After that, the demonic cultivator rushed straight to the breakthrough point of Little Wu. When the atmospheric anomaly receded, Little Wu successfully reached the level of Mystic General, bringing Wang Feng an additional 1,000 sect points. He quietly rejoiced. This girl is truly a genius, only a day into apprenticeship, and she is already approaching my level. I am lucky to have a system, otherwise she could catch up, and then I would lose face. While he was pondering, Little Wu quickly thanked the sect mentor for this opportunity. Nearby, Fetty, filled with envy, boasted that her achievement of the Mystic General level meant nothing, because in a year I, as her elder brother, will reach the level of Ascended Chancellor, and that will be impressive. If Wang Feng answered without hesitation, continue to follow Elder Yi closely. I want you to glorify the name of the Divine Immorality sect. Meanwhile, a great demon appeared behind Wang Feng, and mockingly said that he thought to find here only one prey of the Mystic General level. But there are several ants here that barely satisfy his appetite. Immediately Wang Feng summoned the system and spent 100 sepi points to thoroughly check the threat. Knowing the enemy and oneself means not encountering danger in battle. This creature exerts enormous pressure. I even doubt that Yaguchen can defeat it, so it is better to be fully informed. The system created Wang Feng, a creature named Dark Reaper, who 1,000 years ago was a scourge of the Shining Empire, defeated and sealed by the Emperor of the Solar Radiance Empire. Now the seal has just been removed, and the cultivation level has reached the peak of the Marquis rank. Wang Feng sighs with relief. It's good that he is not at the peak, because otherwise even Yaguchen would not cope. However, Fetty, gathering courage nearby, challenged the demon, saying that he has no right to invade our sect of divine immortals, and must leave immediately. Otherwise our elder Yi from the sect will deprive him of peace even in death. The great demon looked disdainfully at the modest straw hut. His contempt was palpable. This was a divine immoral sect that crawled out of a hole I had never even heard of. And this fat man, foolishly brave, dared to rudely address the great demon. Wang Feng admired Fetty's audacity, because an ordinary mortal dared to scold a powerful being at the Marquis level peak. Little Wu urgently warned her elder brother that the aura of this person was not weaker than the Master S. At least he was a cultivator at the Marquis level. The great demon laughed at the admission, saying that this girl understood something, and added that soon you will see his great treasure. However, the fat man bravely replied that even if he is at the Marquis level, it is not a problem, because we have the sect leader. The sect master said that in a year he would become chancellor. In 3 years, he would become a mystical emperor, and dealing with him would be as easy as lifting a finger. A little bug that dares to cause trouble in the divine sect of immortals is like a tiny turtle jumping off a cliff, not knowing what awaits it. The bold statement unexpectedly frightened the great demon, who looked at Wang Feng in surprise. He might have had some cultivation level, but certainly not that strong. Meanwhile, Wang Fen felt a wave of helplessness. Now I understand why the fat man has the mystical body of the turtle sage. He truly risks his life like no one else. The great demon, coming to his senses, roared angrily and ordered someone to punish this fool, because killing him would stain my hands, so let someone step forward and measure strength with me. When he heard the challenge, Van Feng signaled to Iguchan and ordered him to hold him back for now. I will make sure he doesn't leave here intact. With one sword strike, he immediately shattered the incoming demonic energy. When an even more treacherous energy crashed from behind, Yaguchi was trapped for a moment. I thought your old man was formidable, but it turns out he is easy to catch. Little Wu, seeing his master in danger, panicked and begged for help for him. You underestimate your master. Demon Lord Klaus wanted to be able to hold you, Guqian. Despite the great demon's full resistance, he rushed at him, and the sword's energy pierced his arm. He was struck that such a powerful known force from that world was in such a remote place. His hellish energy bursts out. He resolutely tries to hold on in the fight again. At that moment, Fatty interrupted. teasing the great demon, saying, "Are you going to run after defeat? You won't escape easily unless you crawl under my feet." Don to hope to leave unscathed. Fatty's teasing enraged the great demon. "You pathetic fatty, open your eyes and watch carefully. I am going to use my last move. If you keep babbling, I swear I will do it." But he didn't finish. Fat man, as if grimacing in pain, asked Sackmaster why he hit him, because he supposedly saw a mosquito on his face. Van Fen replied, but thought to himself that this fat man was looking for it himself, and almost forgot that he was on our side. The great demon, looking at the wound on his arm, teased Yiguchi-chan, saying that you are the first since I was unsealed who really ignited my appetite. A huge bloody handprint fell on Iguchi's head. Yiguchi remained calm, placed the looming rainbow in front of him, and in response released the heavenly traveler. Their clash raised the wind and shook the earth. Despite the great demoness' last move, Yigucheng remained unharmed. The great demon, feeling a slight difference in strength, thought that Yiguchi's power was only slightly less than mine, and if I use all my strength, I can kill him. But then that old man will feel that I am unsealing, and I will have to run away. That's enough for today. Everything ends here. When I recover my strength, I will find you for another fight. Sorry, but today you will not leave. I have achieved what I wanted." While he was speaking, snow began to fall from the sky, like goose feathers. Van Fen, seeing this, was very happy. It is a sign of heaven and earth. He is approaching. At that moment, the great demon asked confusedly, "Who are you talking about?" Hearing this, the mighty demon panicked, because dealing with one Yiguchi was already difficult, and now another formidable opponent appeared, equal to him. It seems today is my end. After this, he ran, thinking it was better to just escape. It was impossible for Shimen Shueishu to let him escape while his fingers were clenched. The demon was surprised and interested in the invisible sword that formed between his two fingers. Explained, "An invisible immaterial sword, and the very power of such a sword can kill. This is a strange swordsmanship technique." However, Shimen Shueishu indifferently replied that he only accidentally waved the sword. Wang Feng did not hide his surprise, because he did not expect that we would summon Yigucheng's only opponent in his life, both having achieved unity of sword and heart. But logically, Yigucheng should be stronger than Shimen Shueishui. The system told him that the summoned Shimen Shueishui comes from the time after the decisive battle at the peak of the Forbidden Purple City, and before that his swordsmanship was perfected. He reached a level where there is no sword in the heart, and everything in the world can become a sword. So naturally, he is a bit stronger than Yigucheng. Suddenly Wang Feng realized that this made sense. Now that the divine immoral sect also has an expert at the level of the mystic emperor, soon they will become stronger. He pointed at Shimen Shueishu and said that he did not expect that after the battle in the Forbidden City we would meet like this. Shimen Shueishu understood that Iguchen wanted to resolve their rivalry. Lightly pushed his long sword aside and said that Iguchen is not his opponent yet. The fight will start when he breaks through to the level of Mystic Emperor. Soon Shimen Shueishu folded his hands and bowed to Wang Feng. Shimen Shueishu shows respect to the sect leader. Apologies for being late. Overcome with panic, if Elder Yi had taken a step, I would have had at least some chance to escape. With Elder Shimen, there might still be a faint hope to survive. If this mysterious sect leader intervenes, my death is inevitable. Although it seems he only has cultivation at the Ascend Chancellor level, even masters at the Mystic Emperor level respect him, so his power must be terrible. I must take someone with me. After that, he rushed at the fat man. You, who screamed in fear, have no courage, said you wouldn't stain your hands with my blood, and now, when you are losing, you attack the weakest. I realized that although the divine immoral sect is strong against such reckless opponents, even a genius like me can die early, so I should be more careful in the future. It was then that Shimen Shueishu's fingers turned the air into a sword. Now you have two options. Give up all your belongings and join my divine order of immortals, or become fertilizer for the flowers and plants of our mountain. I am doing this because if he can be convinced, it will help attract strong sect members. If he returns to evil again, he can be killed later. The great demon roared with rage. A demon can be killed but not insulted. However, Fetty, the set director, interrupted and chose the second option. I will bury him myself, and then pee on his grave so that the flowers and plants of our divine immortal sect will flourish. As soon as the chubby spoke, Von Fong got angry and reproached that he is always here. So later he will have to turn him into a hermit turtle. But as soon as Tolston finished speaking, he immediately received another blow. I look at you innocently, younger sister. Why did you hit me? These mosquitoes only bite me, probably because they know I have the blood of a genius. The great demon was so angry that he immediately wanted to tear Puffik apart. Van Feng only smiled and said that he knows about your pride and arrogance, and offered to join for a year. If after this you want to leave, you can do so. The great demon froze for a moment. Taking the wallet, Van Feng couldn't help but say that he talks a lot, but is honest in deeds. As soon as the system announced that the master successfully recruited the dark demon of the Bloody Massacre, it credited 10,000 set points and granted a random summoning opportunity. Van Feng was delighted, not expecting that recruiting the great demon would bring such a reward. So he decided to recruit more powerful beings in the future. Now that the reward has been received, if he really poses a threat to humanity as a great demon, eliminating him now would be justified. The feeling of helplessness revealed the truth. It is just my habit, a way to scare others and satisfy my desires, not what I actually do. Van Feng was stunned for a moment by the great demon's confession, and turned to the system to verify the truth of this statement. Receiving a positive response, he was left speechless. Wang Feng could not help but think with a smirk, "Damn, you must be a mighty demon, once a formidable emperor of the mystical level and the pinnacle of power. But instead you scare people to satisfy yourself, which is outright impudence." The great demon thought bitterly, "Damn it, if it weren't for the fear that you wouldn't like my habit of snacking and you would immediately kill me, I would never have revealed the truth." Meanwhile, Little Wu and Chubby took this as proof of Wang Feng's power, because with just a few words he made the mighty demon Darkslaughter voluntarily join the divine sect of immortals. The sect leader's methods are truly frightening. At that moment, Wang Feng turned and went to the straw hut, calling everyone to follow. "All right, stop wandering outside. Come with me. I will take you to the real base of that divine immoral sect." The fatty and Little Wu were filled with anticipation. I knew that the base of the divine immortal sect could not be a simple little hut. I never thought I would provoke an ancient, hidden great sect. Otherwise, such a weak hut sect could not have a mystical emperor and mighty rulers of high levels. I must see what this so-called divine immoral community really is, this great hidden society. When everyone entered the cramped hut, it immediately became crowded. The token slowly hung in the air, and after that a loud noise sounded. Everyone froze in amazement, and the great demon almost opened his mouth. This is a sect with a base in a secret world. To establish a base there, it must be an extremely formidable hidden sect. Secret kingdoms on the mystical Azure continent are extremely rare and always cause chaos. Only powerful beings of the higher mystical sphere level and above can create such spheres. They often contain treasures left by powerful creatures. I did not expect such an inconspicuous sect to occupy an entire secret kingdom. So, the sect of divine immorality was at least founded by a powerful representative of the higher mystical level, and possesses the heritage of the higher mystical level. If I can gain access to it, it will give me the opportunity to rise to new heights. When everyone entered the secret kingdom, a magnificent hall enveloped in ethereal glow appeared before them, and at the entrance stood a large stone stele with a clear inscription, "Divine Moral Sect." Wanfen turned around and advised them to choose any pavilion, but warned not to enter forbidden zones. Wanfen will one day decide to fill the hall with powerful masters of the higher mystical sphere. Summoning the system, he immediately used the newly obtained random summoning chance. To his surprise, he summoned a girl known as the most beautiful in the world, Yao Yu. The system introduced her as a character from a martial arts novel, The Great Mistress of the Palace of Flower Transformation. Unmatched both in martial arts and beauty. Comparable to the world's best divine sword, Yin Nantian. Her cultivation was at the initial stage of the mystical emperor realm. She possessed the art of bright jade and techniques of flower movement and jade transfer. Raising his eyes, Wang Feng noticed icy flowers falling from the stone ceiling. Suddenly, her full figure appeared with long, slender legs that struck Wang Feng. Even in a past life, if I had broken my arm while drawing, I doubt I could have conveyed her beauty. Then Yao Yu landed and immediately greeted Wang Feng, showing respect to the sect leader. At that moment, Wang Feng felt a hidden excitement, because having the most beautiful woman of the martial world nearby was incredibly pleasant. But he restrained himself, and said there was no need for extra formalities from now on. "You will be by my side." She sat on the stone chair, but the cold aura from her made Wang Feng uncontrollably shudder. He suggested she go out for now and take care of him when they were outside. Wang Feng could not help but notice that the bright jade skill she cultivated was extraordinarily powerful. And even when she did not use it, I almost froze from the cold beside her. By chance, a large demon came out of the neighboring room and muttered to himself that this was strange because the divine immortal sect had a reputation for being ancient, hidden, and powerful. But here there were only a few strong beings and no one else. Perhaps this sect was just a facade without real substance. And he was already about to kick the door to check if the room was occupied. A piercing cold wind blew on him before he could react. Through the door crack, he saw an attractive woman on the sofa. Frightened by the encounter with Yao Yu, the large demon retreated to the side of the building and broke out in a cold sweat. It seems the most powerful of the divine immoral sect had been sleeping for a long time, and I accidentally woke this one with my interference. I recklessly rushed into those pavilions, as if calling death. And like the dark demon slasher, they have been constantly restraining me since my arrival, which is incredibly irritating. However, grabbing a strong leg is also a skill, and not everyone gets such an opportunity. Little Wu approached Fetti's resonance, her face full of anxiety. Fetti, seeing your worried expression, broke out in a cold sweat. He asked with interest, "Younger sister, what brought you here so early?" Before he could react, Little Wu's hand already touched his cheek. The slap was so strong that Fetti flew back. He looks at his younger sister with distrust and asks why she did that. Little Wu was stunned and thought, the abbot did not lie. The elder brother really has frightening power. I used 1/10 of the mystical general's strength in that strike. And you, an ordinary mortal, stood firm without injury. Confused, Fetti replied, "You hit me and say you do it for my own good. Younger sister, with such an attitude, it looks like you are coveting my place as the senior disciple of the divine immoral sect and want to overthrow me." Little Wu explained, "Elder brother, you worry too much. The sect leader himself asked me to duel you, and even ordered that until I kill you. Any fighting method is acceptable because you have an incomparable divine body." Fetti was stunned, and did not understand how no one knew about such a body. "Tell me honestly, younger sister, did I do something wrong and offend the sect leader?" Fetti, embarrassed, replied that he did not believe he could truly be an unparalleled genius. Improvement for a flawless genius should be as simple as drinking water, and I don't understand why the immortal still hasn't done it. There is nothing to explain because your body is not yet activated. The next second, Little Wu's flying kick hit him right in the face, plainly showing that he was beaten. Suddenly, this strike worked like plastic surgery. Fetti hurriedly begged for mercy. "Younger sister, wait. Maybe it would be better if the sect leader did it." Little Wu jokingly replied that the sect leader is afraid of accidentally killing you with one palm strike, so he sent me first to temper you. Fetti, seeing Little Wu's hand in a mystical aura, almost fainted from fear. Meanwhile, Wang Feng, hearing pig-like screams coming from the pavilion, could not help but feel some admiration, because with such a devoted younger sister who puts all her strength into helping her older brother, Fetti will definitely enhance his body and become an unparalleled genius. If I didn't have to protect the image of the SEC leader, I would gladly personally teach him to be a mystical sage in the form of a turtle. There were a few people inside, but a dead silence prevailed. Great Elder Chu Wanfeng expressed concern, because soon a great gathering for demon sealing will begin. Our young Master Qinchin currently cannot break through to the level of Mystic General. I fear the demon sealing rankings will once again surpass our Overcloud sect. Look at these old men. If this continues, our sect will turn into a retirement home. Chen Fen was not going to retreat so easily. This demon sealing gathering is crucial. We need to find a way to compete. The demon sealing rankings are connected to admission to the Sunflash Academy. We cannot miss this opportunity. Cho Wanfeng sharply objected. The elder ordered that only the younger generations can compete in the great demon sealing ceremony. And in our sect, only the young master has reached the peak level of spirit communication. So allowing him to compete would effectively admit defeat, which would humiliate the sect's dignity and leave us in a hall full of sighs. Since we cannot rely on our people, we must seek an external solution and check if anything unusual has happened near the Starry Mountains recently. Zhu Wanfeng stroked his beard and replied that recently the Lin family in the shining city of Wind was destroyed by the estate of a distant marquis. Only Miss Lin survived. They say the young marquis chased her to the outskirts of the mountains, where she disappeared. Qin Fen regretfully noted that the Lin family matter concerns the higher circles of the Sandblaze Empire, and now Miss Lin is like a plague with whom we must not have connections. Then Chu Wanfeng told about another strange case, according to disciples. Yesterday in the valley on the outskirts of the mountains, an aura of general mystical level was detected. Perhaps someone has just made a breakthrough. Chen Fen jumped up from his chair. It seems that a young independent cultivator on the outskirts of the mountains found a chance and broke through to the level of Mystic General. The disciple did not dare to approach and check, only sensed the aura from afar. "So this is unconfirmed," replied Chu Wanfeng. Chen Fen was delighted. "If we manage to have this young genius represent our sect at the great gathering of the Demon Seal, we will have a chance to enter the ranking." But Cho Wanfeng expressed concern that this young man might already belong to a sect. Chen Fen replied, "If he is from a large sect, then let it be, but if from a small sect, then no." We will destroy his sect and ensure that he remains in our Overcloud sect forever. You will take care of this. Wang Fen used 10,000 sect points to exchange them for 10 consecutive draws. Resolutely poured all cultivation methods and mystical techniques into himself. Soon, countless light spheres flowed into his body, transforming him from a defenseless man into a true embodiment of the might of the divine immoral sect. However, on the same day, an unwelcome guest came to this sect. Chu Wangfeng, sent by the Nadkmar sect, came with contempt. Seeing the sect's plaque, considered it worthless and unworthy to be called divine. Because even the Nadkmar sect, the largest on the outskirts of the Starshine Mountains, would not dare to claim so, and this one was located in a straw hut, and all this seemed ridiculous even before he finished his tirade. Burying his head in the wall from shame, he became angry due to the unexpected humiliation, and began threatening to ambush me, the great elder of the Nadkmar sect, saying that if I continued, his sect would make me beg for death. While he was cursing, Wang Fen and the Great Demon approached. The Great Demon was pleased at the opportunity to vent, as finally a big fish had fallen into their net. Wang Fen's face became gloomy. He called it nonsense, said he had never heard of such a thing, and was outraged by the cursing at the gates of his sect so early. Chu Wangfeng was deeply shocked, and could not believe that such a small, little-known sect had such powerful people, as evidenced by his stunned silence. Wang Feng gestured to the Great Demon beside him. The little demon. Our divine immortal sect always convinces with virtue. This old man is now under your care. Make sure he speaks voluntarily. Understanding Q, the Great Demon quickly created a huge bloody hand and firmly grabbed Cho Wanfeng. Loudly reproaching, he said, "You old fool, you are seeking death. If you don't want the stone to become your grave, you'd better start talking." Fear gripped Wanfeng. They say they convince with virtue but deliver heavy blows. If I say nothing, I might not live until tomorrow. He quickly confessed that his name was Chu Wanfeng. The Elder of Overcloud said he came here to investigate the recently appeared aura of the Mystic General level in the valley. Wanfeng, pondering, replied that this aura must belong to Little Wu, who recently made a breakthrough, and asked why the Elder was investigating this person. Since the Great Demon Sealing Gathering will soon take place, and our sect has no disciples at the Mystic General level who could claim places in the ranking, we came here to look for talented disciples to take them into our sect. Wang Feng did not understand what the Great Demon Sealing Gathering was. Zhou Wanfeng was surprised, thinking that they did not know about the Great Demon Sealing Gathering. And for such a crude little sect, this was not surprising. But after a moment of hesitation, he again fell face down to the ground. He explained in detail that at the Great Gathering, held once every 10 years, a demon seal is performed to restrain and seal the 1,000-year-old Dark Slaughter Demon, and that this ceremony is extremely important for the Solar Flame Empire. Although sealed, pure demonic aura constantly seeps from the Dark Slaughter Demon. To counter this, the Emperor of the Solar Flame mobilizes the strongest members of the Imperial sects and sends them to exterminate beasts tainted with demonic aura, thereby weakening the Dark Slaughter Demon. This time the Emperor decreed that only the young may participate, so all sects are now feverishly preparing their disciples and searching for talented people outside their sects to gain high places in the demon sealing ranking. Having listened carefully, Wanfeng smiled and said that you truly have a discerning eye to identify exactly the person around whom the Great Demon Sealing Gathering is convened. The Great Demon could not help but smile at the irony that the Grand Assembly for Sealing Demons was actually held for my sake. Fear and realization appeared in his eyes. He thought it might be you. Wang Feng became even more worried because if the supreme leader of a great state is so afraid, and even holds grand gatherings of the demon stele every 10 years, then this dark blood demon is not as simple as he seems. Turning around, he cautiously asked the little demon how he managed to escape so easily after being sealed by so many powerful beings. At the sudden question, the great demon seemed to understand Wang Feng's intention, and honestly confessed before the master, not hiding that for years, I had been developing the technique of creating avatars, and those old fools had actually only sealed one of my avatars. Then Wang Feng approached Cho Wangfeng to learn about the demon sealing list. It turned out that the so-called demon stele list was a ranking of this assembly, compiled based on the number of demons killed, permeated with demonic aura. Previously, this list was oriented only towards the older generation of the mighty. Wang Fen rejoiced at what he heard, thinking that many young talents would definitely gather at the assembly, and that he could take advantage of this opportunity to fulfill the system's task of recruiting disciples. Learning that the assembly would take place only in a month, he secretly rejoiced, thinking this gives me enough time. I need to do well because he was immersed in thought. Chu Wangfen began to beg the boss, asking that now that he knows everything, to let him go as if he meant nothing. It's simple if you want me to let you go. Honestly say what you will do next if you find someone from the realm of the mystic generals. Large drops of sweat covered Chu Vamping's forehead, and he did not dare to utter the words commanded by Qin Fong. Noticing his silence, Wang Fen quickly ordered the great demon to apply pressure. To save his life, Cho Wang Fen had no choice but to confess. If it is someone from the small sect, destroy their sect and break their bloodline. As soon as the words left his mouth, Wang Feng indifferently turned his head away, then waved his hand and gave the sign to kill him. And the great demon instantly understood and clenched his left hand into a fist. As a result, Wang Feng received 500 sect points. The great demon, with a contemptuous expression, said that these are the virtues of the great sects of the Solar Palace Empire. They are even more treacherous than demons, and addressed the master, saying that since we have already become enemies of the Nadkamar sect, it is worth simply destroying them completely. Wang Feng thought that the Nadkamar sect, capable of such tyrannical acts, is clearly bad, and if they find out about Cho Wang Feng, the divinely immoral sect will probably end up in endless trouble. Wang Feng made a decision, so let us go and check for ourselves. Meanwhile, in the capital of the Solar Empire, the green exhibit was used as a table. Long signboard, Lin Tianshan. After a moment, he suddenly asked old Wang why Uni had not yet returned, since he was only sent to eliminate one of the last members of the Ling family, and why it was taking so long. My Lord Marquis, I have already sent someone to inform young Lord Uni. Perhaps he is already returning. It was then that the token on old Wang's belt jingled. Marquis, there is a message, probably from young Master Ini, who is worried that you are waiting impatiently, sent the first reply. At least the boy has some conscience. No, Lane, I am worried about him. Quickly check the voice talisman. I want to hear what he will say. His whole body trembled when he told Master Uni that he was dead. Upon hearing the news, Lin Tianshan immediately became angry. Let it be known who this blind fool is who dared to kill my heir. I will tear them to pieces. Commander of the city guard Li Qingchen watched the events with satisfaction. But in a moment he noticed a formidable army slowly approaching the city gates. Angrily they said, Marquis Lin Tianshun, you have unauthorizedly led the Long-Scale Legion out of the Imperial City, and this is an unforgivable crime. I am well aware of this. I am ashamed for betraying His Majesty's trust. My only son was brutally killed in the Starshine Mountains. After I avenge him, I will return and confess my crime before His Majesty. Stunned, Li Qingchen considered Lin Yunyi his only weakness, and could not imagine who would dare kill his son. As he pondered, and Lin Tianshan, seeing no intention in Li Qingchen to yield, angrily said that it honors him as the commander of the guard, and if he does not step back, he should not blame him for taking measures, because even if the Heavenly King were here today, no one would stop him from retrieving his son. From the floating city came a voice, Qinchin, let him pass. The death of his son made him unrestrained. It is wrong, but understandable. Let him return and come to me immediately. Allowing Lin Tianshan to pass, go now, and upon returning find His Majesty, and confess your sins. Lin Tianshan, understanding the situation, thanked him. Thank you for your understanding, Your Majesty. As soon as I avenge my son and bring him back, I will definitely come and confess my sins. As the mighty army retreated, Li Qingchen could not shake the premonition of disaster, suspecting that in the world of martial arts a storm of blood and violence was about to begin. Meanwhile, Wang Feng and his companions Yao Yu and others reached Overcloud Sect. Li Heya was humiliated and beaten by a group, he begged, pressing his forehead to his hands. I do not know how I offended the young master. Please forgive my ignorance and let me go. He was bullied by Qinshin, the young master of the Overcloud Sect, who mockingly said he kindly offered a kiss because he was quite handsome. But he dared to evade, so he deserves to be beaten. Followers of Qinshin. Known as the Three Monsters of the Overcloud Sect, we are grateful to our parents for giving birth to us so ugly, because otherwise sooner or later, we would not have ended up serving the young master, if the sect leader had not chosen us because of our ugliness. When Jinshin became increasingly excited, hitting and constantly shouting, the ordinary disciple remained ordinary, unable to withstand several blows and quickly broke down, a real worthless trash, suitable only for show. Wang Feng, observing from the side, thinks that the young master of the Overcloud Sect is so tyrannical and vile, that the sect itself is bad. It was then that the system sent a message congratulating him on discovering an unparalleled genius. Von Fawn is shocked and outraged. The system, it cannot be that this man is the unparalleled genius you are talking about. The camera shifted, and he saw with relief that the genius was actually the bullied Li He with purple hair. Wang Fen was puzzled. He is a genius without equal, and yet he is humiliated like this. Perhaps he, like Fetty, is just an ordinary person with an extraordinary stature. Hearing this, Wang Feng jumped down and quickly intervened to stop the bullying. "Shut up." Xin She sneered contemptuously and said he would like to see who dares to make him shut up. Seeing Wang Feng, Qin Xin was seized by a sick obsession. She turned to the young prince with advice to surrender and said that today he would receive her precious kiss, and Wang Feng, barely suppressing laughter at the absurdity, coldly ordered Yao Yu to hit him. And as soon as the words were spoken, the air grew cold, and Yao Yu stepped forward. Her stunning beauty impressed even the three monsters from the Overcloud sector. However, her other reaction made him tremble with rage. There was blood in his pupils. "No one has the right to be more beautiful than me. Seize this woman immediately. I will ensure she meets a bitter end." The three monsters quickly surrounded Yao Yu, taunting her before the attack. "Little beauty, you were unlucky to end up in the hands of three monsters from Overcloud Sex, and if we catch you, you will wish for death." Wan Feng was afraid for them and thought that as the sect leader he would not risk provoking Yao Yu, so he could not imagine how terrible their fate would be. With an elegant turn, the three monsters became headless ice sculptures. Qin Qin was scared of her skill and did not have time to react. Yao Yu teleported in front of him and touched his cheek with her finger. Despite the obvious pain, his facial expression remained restrained, and Wan Feng could not understand Li Hei's actions. Seeing this, Yu instantly withdrew her spiritual power and asked how he could humiliate you like that while you are still saving him. At that moment, Qin Xin, who was sitting paralyzed on the ground, laughed. "Li, if you kill them, I will generously reward you with 10 sweet kisses." As soon as his voice faded, a hand sharply grabbed him by the neck, since she was still trying to conduct futile struggle. "Li Heis, you have the audacity to treat me like this." But in Li Heis's eyes was a murderous intent. "I was going to let you go until tomorrow, but you insist on dying, so I will not allow another person to kill you, because that would be my regret for life." I had to make the first move. When I threw the fallen Qin Qin to the ground, he finally felt relief. If this act also impressed Wang Feng, who was standing nearby, it turned out that this extraordinary genius was not as simple as he had imagined observing the sharp change in his behavior. Wang Feng felt curiosity and quickly accessed the system to find out why Li He was considered an extraordinary genius. But the system showed that the investigation would cost 1,000 sect points. Despite the pain from the expenses, out of curiosity, Van Feng pressed the confirmation button without hesitation. In fact, Li Hei's real name was Li Chang'an, and he was once the supreme mystic at the top. Suddenly falling, he transformed into the current He only after obtaining the valuable item. Hearing this, Long Fum shuddered at the thought that in a past life, he was the greatest mystic who could destroy an entire country with a single blow, yet endured humiliation without resistance. According to the system, Wan Fen learned that Li He behaved that way only to hide the secret of his reincarnation. However, anyone who dared to insult him would not live until morning. At that moment, Fan Feng could not help but feel worthless next to him. "I am just trash." Indeed, one should not judge by appearance. He asked about the current cultivation level of Li Hei's. Because after reincarnation, the fusion of the residual soul with a unique treasure rapidly increased his talent, and just a year after awakening, he had already reached the level of Ascending Chancellor. Having read the system explanation, Van Feng delved into thoughts, and did not expect that the joke Fetty once made about becoming Chancellor in a year would turn out to be true. Li He once reached the peak of the Supreme Mystic, and now his talent has risen again, so his future has limitless prospects, and the system recognized him as an exceptional genius. It seems only a divine sect of immortals could contain such a hidden dragon. Having learned all this, Van Feng quickly turned to the young man. "You just killed the junior master of the Nadkmar sect, so you probably cannot stay here. Come with me. My sect will protect you reliably." Instead of getting angry, Wan Fen remained very calm. "What I know about your past." Li He immediately plunged into thoughts about all the outskirts of the Star Mountains. There were no masters of the level of the Mystic Emperor here before, and now such a high-level master is ready to submit to this man. He seems to have no hostile intentions towards me. Perhaps it is worth going first to assess the situation. If things go wrong, I will use my trump card. At that moment, a deep voice rang out across the square, asking who dared to harm Chen Fen's beloved son. In a moment, Chen Fen, trembling all over, approached the lifeless body of his son, and looked at the cold corpse. Sadness immediately overwhelmed him. Tears flowed down his face. Suddenly, he sharply turned an angry look to Yao Yu and accused her of killing 3 guards he had sent to protect his son. He roared like a madman, "So you also killed my son? If so, you will not leave the Overcloud sect alive." Hearing this, the neighboring elders were saddened. It was a pity that such an unparalleled beauty could die so young. But Wang Fong stopped him with his hand. "Are you ready to exchange your life for hers?" He lasciviously looked at Yao Yu. "But if you give me your son, it will be considered a life-for-life exchange." Wang Feng mentally criticized him, because he almost believed that he cared about his son, but he turned out to be just a lecherous old man who forgets about his son at the sight of a woman. Then he ordered Yao Yu, "Since he wants to see his son, let us satisfy his wish." As soon as the words sounded, Yao Yu slowly approached Jin Fen, her blue eyes filled with boundless murderous intent. Chen Fen patted his chest and said that he values beauty, so to avoid trouble, I will strike first if beauty can dodge. If you fail to dodge, you must stay and give birth to a healthy son for me. Yao, you are silent and look at Chen Feng with a murderous gaze. Noticing her silence, Chen Feng arrogantly decided that she agreed. Then countless white energies gathered on his palm as he jumped into the air and shouted cloud-piercing palm. Before the huge palm strike, Yao Yu did not try to dodge. When the palm touched, it did not injure her, but instead trapped her in a huge gas sphere. When the dust settled, only a huge palm print remained on the square. The elders of the Overcloud sect who were watching realized that all previous actions of the masters were aimed at confusing the opponent and killing her with one strike. And they muttered that it was a pity for the beauty, and they should have enjoyed it a little first. Chen Feng resolutely declared that even if she were the most beautiful, anyone who dares to kill my son deserves only death. Li He embarrassedly and quickly turned to Wang Feng. You just saw her being killed. Maybe you misunderstand how your power works, and which of your eyes is blind. The palm is enveloped in a blue mystical glow. Now I will test if you can avoid my strike. A woman was approaching, and Chen Feng panicked, raising his palm to defend himself, not believing she could be so powerful. In front of Chen Fen, an ice wall rose, from which countless ice spikes quickly appeared and shot towards him. In 2 seconds, Chen Fen transformed into a porcupine and met his son, just as he wanted. Looking at this terrifying woman, the elders of the Overcloud sect hid in fear, unable to imagine that an expert of Chancellor level from Pikasinu could fall so easily before her. Now that the sect master was dead, they did not know what to do next. Meanwhile, Wang Feng indifferently announced on behalf of the Master of the Divine Immortals sect that the Overcloud sect no longer exists, and you can all disband right here. Suddenly changing his expression, he declared, "Do not think that a few harsh words will disband the Overcloud sect. Since both the sect head and the young master are absent, to preserve our sect it is urgent to elect a new head. But the Overcloud sect will no longer have a next leader," and pure horror was on his face. As soon as he spoke the words, a huge chunk of ice flew into the main hall of the sect, crashing loudly upon falling and leaving only ruins of the sect. It was then that a clear voice rang out across the square, asking where Qin Feng was. Elder Wang was so scared he almost wet himself, thinking the bloody god had returned. This calmed him down a bit. That god of death had just killed Chen Feng and left. However, he sank back into his thoughts. The great scoreboard had already approached him and loudly asked if he was Chen Feng. Before the fierce creature, Elder Wan stammered, "No, I am not the one. Our sect leader is already dead." At that moment, the Marquis of the Long Scale revealed his intention. "I am the Marquis of the Long Scale of the Empire of the Solar Flame. Name who killed my son, Lin Yunyi." Seeing his dead son, Elder Wan was stunned and could not comprehend who dared to lay hands on the son of the influential leader of the country. After some thought, he decided to divert the disaster elsewhere. Hearing this, the eyes of the Marquis Longscale filled with blood from rage. The very person who killed the young Marquis also killed our sect leader. He immediately released the chicken he had been playing with for a long time. They rushed to Wang Feng and without hesitation showered him with flattery. The sect leader truly impresses, as he destroyed the Overcloud sect and returned victorious in just a few hours. Wang Feng invited again. "What have you decided? Do you want to join my divine immoral S?" Seeing this den of iniquity, Li He felt disgust, as in my previous life, because, being a creature at the peak of the highest mystical level, the sect I founded never dared to call itself Divine Immortals, and in this worthless place, barely suitable even for birds, they allow themselves such a pompous name, which looks absurd. With an expression of contempt, he said that a sparrow will not understand the ambitions of a swan. Following you here was a complete waste of time. Hearing these words, the great demon immediately became angry. In an instant, he aimed at Li Hei's forehead, his eyes filled with murderous intent. Better watch your words when speaking with the leader of the sect. Van Fen did not get angry, and calmly replied that even if you were the highest supreme mystic in a past life, now you are only a novice chancellor, and if you try anything here, you will have no chance. When the great demon realized he was dealing with such a powerful being, he quickly retreated. It turned out that this young man was the reincarnation of a mighty figure, and even in the prime of my strength, I could not have opposed him next to him. I am nothing, like an ant. Seeing that Li He remained indifferent, Wang Feng took out the token of the small world. He was going to visit the true dwelling of the sect, hoping for a change of heart. Before them instantly appeared a huge divine immortal system. Li He was shocked, although a powerful master of a higher mystical level can create a small world. And even in my past life I have never seen anything so large and well developed. One phone kept going. I know you have a treasure, but it did not interest me. My only goal for you is to join the divine immoral sect. However, Li He did not look impressed. I thought about refusing to join. Having seen two more powerful mystical emperors, Li He became even more interested and realized that they were trying to force him to join by relying on numerical superiority. Even with 3 mighty rulers of the mystic emperor level, I can still go and carry away that treasure. Even before Wang Feng could answer, the sharp screech of a sword on the ground interrupted him. The hall was gripped by a terrible pressure. Before them appeared a man in a black cloak. Then he respectfully approached Wang Feng and said, "I am a subordinate of Yan 13, at your service, sect leader." It turned out that this newcomer Yan 13 was a mystical emperor of the highest level. He was known as a first-class swordsman among sword enthusiasts. His life goal was to surpass the supreme swordmaster, Xie Xiaofeng. Yan 13 became famous for his deadly technique of 13 swords, and creating a 14th variation. He created the 15th during a duel with CS Xiaofeng. It symbolized destruction and death. Realizing the scale of the destruction, he decided to destroy it by cutting his own throat. After a few seconds, he began to taunt Wang Feng. "As the sect leader, you only have the cultivation level of a mystical emperor, and are not worthy of this title." As soon as Li He finished speaking, Yan 13's long sword was already touching his neck, hinting that the deadly 15th sword must return. However, Wang Feng immediately intervened. "Elder Yan, let S calm down. This is just cultivation at the peak of the mystical emperor level. If I want, I can obtain it any time." He checked the sect points and was surprised by the number before him. "I did not expect to accumulate 40,000 sect points so quickly. Now I can truly boast." He immediately spent 10,000 set points on the reward for 10 draws. Then he added 1/10 of Yan 13's level to his cultivation. In an instant, a magnificent golden light poured into Wang Feng. Li He was stunned and full of questions. He could not comprehend whether he had been hiding his cultivation all this time. Sweat dripped from his forehead, and the question arose whether he could truly instantly ascend to the peak of the mystic emperor realm. Wang Feng, with a self-satisfied smile, extended his right hand and said that he had accidentally reached the peak of the mystic emperor level, then asked if there was anything else to say. Li He remained defiant and unwilling to submit easily, although he once stood at the top. "Even if there are 4 lords of the mystic emperor level in the sect of divine immortals, you will not make me submit. At best, we will both suffer serious harm." Hearing this, Li He was surprised, not expecting another secret expert, and quickly asked who it was. Li He was embarrassed. "Do not take him for a 3-year-old child. He is currently only at the poster level. It seems impossible for him to leap over that chasm." Wang Feng confidently waved his hand. "He may not be confident now, but soon he will be. Perhaps you have already heard of the distant spiritual gift transmission. Today, you will witness it. This is nonsense. Even in my past life, when I cultivated in the higher mystic realm of Pita, I could not achieve what you call distant transmission." Wang Feng replied, "Just because you could not achieve it as a supreme mystic does not mean I cannot as a mystic emperor. Watch carefully." He lightly touched Iguchi's forehead and ordered the system to transfer all the remaining cultivation to him. Eventually, Iguchi successfully reached the level of mystic emperor. He observed the rise of his lifelong rivals. Even on the face of Shimen Shui Shua appeared a shadow of joy. Thanks to the sect leader, now I can engage in a worthy duel with him. Completely confused, Li He realized that he truly helped Elder Yi ascend to the level of mystic emperor. When the sect leader himself appeared, he understood that he had no chance of victory. However, Wang Feng did not pressure him too much. "Now that you see everything clearly, join my divine immoral sect. I will not only restore you to your former peak, but also help you surpass your past." Seeing no other way out, Li He yielded and said he would join for only 10 years, after which he would leave. and you must not disclose anything about the treasure he has. Apparently, Li Hei's treasure interested Wang Feng little, as he was more attracted by the system rewards for recruiting the reincarnated Supreme Mystic. Agreeing to the terms, we quickly handed over all his belongings. As a result, you receive 30,000 sec points and a chance to summon Wang Feng. Wang Feng could not help but admire the risk in confronting the reincarnated Supreme Mystic truly paid off. High risk, high reward. Just as Wang Feng spoke cautiously, a new character was about to appear. At first glance, he seemed like a frail scholar, but in reality, he was a formidable figure. In the mountains of the starry radiance, feng shui is abundant. When my stomach growls, food appears nearby by itself. Noticing that the bear was large enough for a full meal, he prepared himself, but just as the bear lunged, seeing the cleared ground, the long tent was supposed to descend. It was Mu Yunfei who was supporting the beast from below while wiping himself. Pi Shou under the long marquee with a scale gathered a ball of real fire in its jaws. With a light wave, a piece of bear paw flew into the flames, forming a giant fist of golden scales aimed directly at his enemy. Realizing that the opponent intended to kill him, he used the technique Heavenly Rainbow One Sword. When the two strikes collided, his long sword was crushed so that only a mound remained. He threw away the broken hilt. Good thing I didn't spit out that roasted piece of meat. That would have been a great loss. Though young, he had already reached the level of Marquise and appeared here, in the mountains of the Starry Radiance. This must be Wang Feng from the sect of Divine Immortals. I would recognize Wang Feng even if only ashes remained of him. This is not him. Mu Yunfei found himself pressed to the ground by a long, scaly tent. I really am not Wang Feng. Let me go. Even if you are not the Long Foam who killed my son, you can still be one of his disciples. Hearing this, Mu Yunfei broke out in a cold sweat and could not believe that someone in the Sunblaze Empire dared to kill the son of the Long-Scale Marquis. Since you refuse to name your sect, you are probably not from the Empire of the Solar Flame. I am a practitioner from the Empire of Shangfen. Just came here for training. You dared to train in the Empire of Sunblaze. You have enough courage, but you risk dying at the hands of our experts. There is nothing to fear. Learning is always associated with risk. If you are afraid, it is impossible to grow. As soon as he finished, the scout of the Long-Scale Legion reported that 50 miles ahead, they found the headquarters of the Divine Immortal Sects. Bind him and bring him back to the Imperial capital after destroying the Divine Abomination. I thought that the Divine Immoral Sect that dared to provoke Marquis Longscale was some powerful hidden force that could even help me get out of this trouble. But the sight of the tiny shack associated with Divine Immoral Sects disappointed Mu Yunfei. At that very moment, the Dark Demon of Slaughter leapt up, casually pulled a large iron staff from the void, stood on the roof of the hut, and created a red barrier with it in front of himself inside the hut. What kind of creature is this, and how does it, resembling a cockroach, have such strength? You not only attacked our sect but also dared to summon this demon. Terra Khan, a dark slain demon, passed through the spears and returned to the Legion of Long Scales. The barrier inflicted severe wounds on their infantry, retreated, and transformed into a giant staff. The demon Darkslaughter drew back his giant staff and swung it widely towards the long tent. Are you the demon Darkslaughter? This is the demon Darkslaughter who ravaged the Sunblaze Empire 1,000 years ago. Will these demons be able to escape from the ancient land of Godfall? Or is this the work of the divine immoral Sex Wang Feng? I did not expect that a master of the highest level was hiding in a simple straw hut. Wanfen from the sect of Divine Immortals killed my son. If you do not interfere with my revenge, I will pretend I did not see you today. Agree. The demonic staff clamped onto Pichio's jaws. Then it unleashed its true fire. It quickly spread along the staff. But the demonic staff grew in response. He lunged at the demon Darkslaughter with golden scaly fists. To his surprise, the Marquis survived. Thank you for the flame. They gave me a boost. Swinging it towards the long signboard, he struck it, and the scales on its body scattered. Your cultivation fell from the peak of the mystical Emperor S realm to the peak of the Marquis S realm. No need to burn yourself if you can defeat me. As soon as he said this, the long Marquis, engulfed in roaring flames, was reborn as the god of war. Yes, it's true. My moral body exists only in the ceremonial sphere. Chilin's body is not only that the long scaly emblem merged with his Pichio and created Chilin's avatar, his most powerful trump card. Before he could comprehend this, a long advertising sign rushed at him. The strike of his beastly hoof cracked the ground and formed a huge crater. The dark bloody slaughter demon barely held on, barely deflecting the attack with his staff. Not only did his endurance and strength increase several times, but his speed also jumped several levels. Even the Dark Slaughter Demon and that evil staff, worthy to become the body of Marquis Chillin, were easily suppressed. As soon as they finished speaking, the Dark Slain Demon smoothly made a turn. The Dark Slaughter Demons struck the Marquis's head with their staff with a deafening crash. The soldiers were almost knocked down by the recoil. I can to confront him directly. I can only retreat and look for an opportunity. But the long tent folded up, preparing to move. Then he dashed like a ray of light straight at the demon Dark Slaughter. Barely had the demon time to react, a heavy elbow strike threw him into the air, followed by 3 punches, each right to the face. With the last blow, the dark demon Rizni was thrown back 100 yards. He crashed into a rock wall and finally stopped. He is so fast. It took me so long to escape from the ancient land of Godfall, and now I will die here. If this continues, they will really crush me like a cockroach. The Marquis with long scales pushed the boulders together, causing a powerful impact. Don T just stand there looking foolish and as if surprised that I am still alive. Elder Yaguchi arrived, his body surrounded by spiritual power. He unleashed his technique and removed the protection from Dark Slaughter Demon wore off. One Dark Slaughter Demon is not enough, but there is a stronger one, and it is necessary to find out who stands behind this divine sect of immortals. During my training in the Empire of the Solar Flame, I never heard of it. Sect Master is very pleased with your work. Now you can rest. The man who calls himself Longscale Marquis says he wants to take the life of the Sect Master. Feeling this, the eyes of Ye Gucheng filled with a murderous gleam, and Soaring Rainbow once again turned out to be a mad fool, forcing the rest of the soldiers of the Longscale Legion to helplessly swirl in the air. The bodies of the soldiers of the Longscale Legion merge. Facing such powerful swordsmanship, the Marquis could only defend passively. After blocking the strike, he launched another attack on Yaguchi. However, at the moment Yagucheng drew his sword, his yellow mystical aura appeared. Yaguchen completely avoided the long-range Marquis attack. Using another sword technique, the ground beneath him began to tear apart. The sword of the earth of the heavenly traveler. Meanwhile, the Dark Demon Reaper and Mu Yunfei stood aside. However, the long-range Marquis could do nothing as a huge boulder rolled toward him. The essence with the long scale knelt on one knee. Instead, Yagucheng hovered in the air, his body crackling with fierce lightning discharges. This was his final strike, the Heavenly Traveler, Heavenly Sword. Yaguchi struck with a destructive technique that could destroy the world, and the eyes of the Marquis with long scales filled with horror. The long Marquis was struck by this powerful sword aura, mixed with the power of lightning. A cruel, sparkling spiritual force that completely engulfed him tore his body apart. The Demon of the Dark Massacre and Mu Yunfei watched from the roof. He hasn't seen the elder Ye Gucheng for several days, and he has become stronger again. What is his current position in the Divine Order of the Immortals? He can seriously injure the Marquis of the Longtail with 3 sword techniques, is at the initial stage of the Mystic Emperor level, but is still the weakest, and fortunately the Marquis caught me in the sect of divine immorality. Meanwhile, the Longscale Marquis suddenly raised his hand, being in a lightning veil. The Longscale Legion formed a Chilean formation and directed the enemies forward, filled with the power of the spirit as it flows in. Scale is more important. After absorbing this energy, his body was again engulfed by foe. Broke the lightning veil with one strike. The Marquis with long scales relied on a legion of the same scales to use the fire of Pisho, and his cultivation level instantly soared, stopping this. I need to destroy the fire unit you placed first. Meanwhile, the long-range installation attacked again. His burning iron fist quickly flew at Ye Gucheng. Ye Gucheng blocked it with the sword sheath. However, the long-scale Marquis managed to grab the sheath. You think only the sheath can harm me. Suddenly, several snowflakes slowly descended from the sky. Instantly, ice covered Yigochen and stopped the attack. Yalu saved Yigochen. The great tent could only remain silent while reinforcements arrived. Shiman Shueishu hovered down with an invisible sword above his head. Shiman Shueishu had already created a sword of energy at his fingertips and aimed at the Marquis' head. Confronted with this sudden attack, the long-scaled Marquis threw back the petrified Niguti. Flames engulfed me, but nothing happened to me. This is dangerous. The long-scaled Marquis smiled because of the successful attack. Fortunately, Yao Yu intervened and froze him in place. However, the long-scaled creature changed its target and lunged at Yao Yu, breaking the ice that held him in place. When Value was pushed back, the long-scaled Marquis fired several scales in her direction. Do not let the scales hit you. They will turn into flames and consume your mystical aura. Yao Yu immediately covered herself with ice, blocking the scales. Shiman Shueishu rushed with a sword at the Marquis of the Long Scale, but the Marquis deflected the blow with his bare hand. Now that your mystical aura is depleted, you are not even able to pierce my hand. Nonsense. You no longer have enough mystical aura to make another sword. A powerful wave of spiritual energy burst towards the Marquis of the Long Scale and passed through the lower part of his body. From the scream of pain, everything below the abdomen turned into a skeleton. When did the most powerful mystical emperor expert appear in the Empire of the Solar Flame? I am Yan 13 from the Divine Immoral Sect. Meanwhile, Wang Feng and his group watched from the mountaintop. I was in seclusion only briefly. How did the sect already get another influential elder? I want to know when I will finally restore my cultivation peak as a mystical emperor in this life. He is an influential figure of great scale, the one who destroyed the clan in my lineage. Wang Feng patted on the shoulder. Don't worry. I know what you are thinking. I will give you the chance to take revenge personally. It is necessary to kill this beast as soon as possible so that the sect master does not consider me useless. When the flame subsided, his wounds not only healed, but the cultivation also reached the peak level of the Mystic Emperor. It's funny that you transform into Super Saiyan X in such a way. And if I were drawing a comic, readers would definitely say that the author is dragging out the plot. Now my Chilean avatar is complete. No matter how strong your sword is, it will not wound my scales. This is not necessarily true. Yen 13 True is a sword again. Releasing the sword technique, 15 swords of death slashed towards the long-scaled Markabov. One strike tore off half the scales from the body of the long-scaled Marquise. When the system suddenly sent a signal, a first-class demon was detected. He is the only new face here, very young, but already on the main stage. I am Mu Yunfei from the Empire of Divine Wind. I was training in the Elder Mountains when the Marquis with long scales mistook me for a member of the sect of divine immorality and captured me. With such talent, you should be among the best of the younger generation in the Empire of Divine Wind. So the Emperor should value you as a treasure. I used to be just a loser. Only chance gave me the opportunity to become what I am now. This is a classic template of the main hero, and I have to drag him into the divine immoral sect at any cost. You are incredibly lucky to have such a meeting. I invite you to join my divine immoral sect. If you join, you will receive individual mentorship from the cultivators of the Mystic Emperor. With your abilities, there is nothing to add here. We will help you reach the level of the Mystic Emperor. If I join that divine immoral sect, I might cause it constant problems. Senior, are you sure you want to accept me? On the battlefield under the large-scale attack of the Marquis Fierce Storm. This oath, as always, is annoying, and he just ruined the perfect recruitment atmosphere I created. Fatty, do you want to immediately move into the sphere of communication with spirits? To successfully recruit him, it seems I will have to act personally. Wang Feng appeared above the long signboard and launched a fire attack at Wang Feng. However, Wang Feng remained calm, activated a bright jade technique with his left hand, and raised the sacred light of Tao with his right. However, the great tent showed no signs of weakness. The attack was repelled, and at the same time Long Feng created distance between them with a fork. If even the sect master cannot defeat the Marquis of the Long Scale, then when will I be able to avenge my clan? The famous star was stunned to see Wang Feng unharmed. This is my disciple Fetty. Thank you, Mr. Expert of the Mystic Emperor, for training him on behalf of our sect. Fetty awakened his mystical turtle sage physic and entered the realm of communication with spirits. From the icy fog, your body has just absorbed all my sword energy. Wanfen created a sword from his energy and swung it toward the long Marquise. He used technique N13, 15 swords of death. The powerful attack tore the long scaly body and removed all the scales. He was again in his mortal body. If you kill me just like that, you yourselves will not survive. His Majesty will surely avenge me. Without hesitation, she approached the helpless Long tent. If I died, I could not kill your son and avenge the Ling clan. You, remnants of the Leng family, killed my son. This man has gone mad and hardly knows who killed his son, so it is unclear why he is so happy. Even if my son and I die unhappily, your future will be tens of thousands of times worse. Kill me, and perhaps the divine immoral sect will have a chance to survive. But since you dared to shelter little Wu, your entire sect is doomed to destruction. As I suspected, there is still something in the extermination of the Lin clan. But in his current state, it is impossible to extract the truth from that long-scale Marquis. Right, the demon Darkslaughter has already fought the Emperor Sunblaze before. Maybe he knows something. We should ask him later. Hearing those words, the hand of little Wu with the wooden sword trembled. You remember what I said earlier. My divine immortal sect fears no one, and if a blood feud begins, we will challenge any enemy, even if he is boundless like the sky. Despite this, the ancient star died with a sinister smile on his face. Head of the sect, now that Marquis Longscale is dead, the Emperor of the Solar Flame will definitely not leave this unanswered. Demon Darkslaughter, your vision is still too narrow. You must understand, The bigger the waves, the more valuable the fish, otherwise my divine amoral sect will never become famous. At that moment, a pair of hands extended a pouch of money. Disciple Mu Yunfei begs to join the divine amoral sect. How did you learn about the rules of joining my sect? Congratulations to the host on acquiring a first-class talent. Reward of 50,000 set points in one random challenge. I am lucky. The reincarnated supreme mystic Mu Yunfei brought significantly more points to the sect than usual. Dark Slaughter or Demon, before you were sealed. Have you ever heard of the Lane clan, where little Wu comes from? Perhaps they were not a top-tier family in the empire of the Solar Flame. This clan had nearly 5,000 years of history, but the Ling clan never became powerful. Later I learned that it was because of a treasure they passed down. Only a disciple of Ling with truly pure blood could fully activate it. After activating that treasure, the entire Ling clan undergoes a complete transformation and easily becomes one of the most powerful families in the world. I was destined to have an incredible fate, because every disciple I accept turns out to be a person of great destiny. Even if it is just a legend, it is most likely what caused the mysterious extermination of the Ling clan. Now that little Wu has joined my divine immoral sect, I will demand justice for her. That great performance was only the beginning. I will not allow anyone involved in the destruction of the Ling clan to escape. Little Wu's entry into the divine immoral sect was the best event for her, and Dark Slaughter also considered this sect the best for himself. Don't tell little Wu about this yet. Let her focus on cultivation. When she becomes strong enough to stand up for herself, I will make sure she takes revenge with her own hands. By the way, gather everyone in the sect. I have an important announcement. Wang Feng eagerly summoned the system and ordered it to show messages he had not yet read. The murder of Marquis Longscale gave him one random summon opportunity for 30,000 sec points. However, this also provoked the hostility of the Emperor of the Solar Blaze and triggered a hostile quest. After activating the enemy mission, the Empire of the Solar Flame was automatically considered an enemy, and completing such missions gave generous rewards. The first mission was to bring the disciples to the Great Demon Sealing Assembly, organized by the Empire of the Solar Flame. At the same time, one of the sect's disciples had to take first place. After the victory, they also had to openly provoke the Emperor of the Solar Flare to his face. The reward for completion was 5 random summons at the opening of the Temple of the Sexual Mission. During the Great Demon Sealing Ritual, killing disciples of other sects or recruiting them to the benefit of the Divine Morality sect not only gave varying amounts of points to the sect, but also brought great luck. This cursed system just loves to create problems, directly provoking the Emperor of the Solar Flame. If it were someone else, he would have died immediately. Only about 10 days remained until the Great Demon Sealing Assembly, and at their current cultivation levels, securing first place was difficult, so he gathered everyone to raise the cultivation of his disciples. In 10 days, I will lead the sect's followers to the Great Demon Sealing Assembly. To strengthen the power of our disciples, you 3 elders must each choose one from Fatty, Li He, and Mu Yunfei as your disciple. The sex master did not know why. Personal mentorship from the mystical emperor. This is really happening. Mom, your brilliant son will soon soar. Unexpectedly, you chose the usual cold howl for the rascal Fatty. Panic gripped him because the demon Darkslaughter said that Elder Yao Yu was a silent and cruel woman. He barely survived the blow from the Marquis with long scales, and now he was to be tortured by Tigress. I am the reincarnation of the highest mystical master, so a simple mystical emperor is not needed by me as a mentor. It is difficult to manage a large team, especially when the elders are so arrogant, and Li He can also be a real jerk. If this time I don't find him a master, he will definitely despise me. In that case, I will have to awaken another elder. Mu Yunfei tensed up. The filming set is under attack. A second later, the red-haired woman hugged him. This time he called precisely her, Empress Juyun. At the middle stage of the Mystic Emperor level, her mystical techniques were incredible. The sound alone from her heavenly demon arts was enough to enchant everyone. Still, He, who had been through a lot in his previous life, could not resist. Heavenly demonic arts and heavenly demonic sound. No wonder all the students had enchanted faces. Although she is not as frightening as Yen 13, now she is very strong. Juyun greets the section leader. Here is Juyun, Elder Ju. Seeing such enthusiastic young people, she decided to give them a welcoming gift. The students were once again captivated and could not look away. Yao Yu, sitting nearby, couldn't hold back and snorted coldly. In 10 days, I will take you all to the Demon Seal in the Great Assembly. If I can gather 100,000 set points in a day, it makes sense to buy back some of the draws. System prompts and numerous rewards appeared on the screen, and he immediately applied the heavenly demonic techniques to himself. I wasn't sure if the cultivation reserves I obtained were enough to rise to the level of Mystic Venerable. But the system informed him that without the master summoning an expert of this level and taking his cultivation, he would not be able to advance. That's true. If only it were that easy to reach the stage of Mystic Venerable. Within this world of the three empires, there are already others at the highest level of Mystic Emperor. Not bad. Thanks to the teachings of the senior disciples, you have all improved significantly. I expected a bit more from the person closest to me. Sackmaster, have mercy on me. If I train any longer, Elder Yalu will beat me to death. Don't worry, that won't happen. System, transfer all my cultivation achievements to the fat one. Little Wu, we are here at Mu Yunfei. Fetty has reached the early stage of the Chancellor Ascension level. Little will reach the peak of the Chancellor Ascension level. Li He has reached the early Marquis level, and Mu Yunfei has reached the peak of the Marquis level. I never imagined the Sect Master had such divine skill. You are making a fuss over a trivial matter. Once the Sect Master raised Elder Yes' cultivation from the peak Marquis level to the early Mystic Emperor level. Dark Butcher Demon, where is the flying transport I asked to prepare? It has been ready for a long time, and when the sect leader sees it, he will feel comfortable. A huge flying boat appeared before them. I carefully designed it in the style of the divine immoral sect. Wonderful. Wherever I go, I can get out of this shack. Well, I will have to endure it. Everyone else agreed. The divine immoral sect either remains hidden or shocks the world upon appearance. The hydroplane took off sharply, and a new chapter began. Arriving at the city, they all head to the only available residence, the Pavilion Melody of the Zither. In the pavilion, everyone discussed the leading talents of this year's gathering. Some praised Yifeng from Flying Feather, and said that he had mastered the 9th level of the Flying Feather Cloud Dragon technique. And although his cultivation had not yet reached the Marquis level, his true combat power was considered extremely strong. Many believed that the main attraction was the Fairy of the Heavenly Heart sect, Li Tianxin, who not only had power comparable to a leading-level expert, but also an astonishing figure. While everyone was talking, 2 mysterious women went up to the upper floor to a private room. After removing the white cloak, a small, delicate figure was revealed. It was Li Tianxin from the Heavenly Heart sect. The Imperial Prince will also be at the gathering. You must always be by his side and not leave him unattended. Is this your decision, Master, or the decision of the sect elders? This is the will of the entire Heavenly Heart sect. I never thought that the leading sect of the Solar Palace Empire would require its disciples to appease the prince. As a disciple of the Heavenly Heart sect, you were carefully raised from childhood, so you must contribute to the affairs of the sect. Looking at the flying vessel in the distance, she snorted disdainfully at the thought that someone had turned a straw hut into a flying machine. Elders, come with me to go down and check the situation below, and everyone else stay on the boat. The stunning figure of Zhu Yan immediately attracted attention. There is a woman in the world of such stunning beauty that a single glance from her makes one ashamed of their own appearance. Welcome to the Pavilion of the Zither Melody. How can I help you, esteemed guests? This tavern is not ordinary. Even the waiter here is connected to the spirit world. We would like a room. The room costs 1,000 low-quality mystical stones. So many mystical stones here. Like a thieves' den, I only have a few hundred stones on me. And those were a gift from Mu Yunfei. I never thought that I, the worthy abbot of the divine immoral sect, would ever be unable to afford to rent a room. Something's wrong. I should have some money system. Explain where their wealth went after I killed Marquis Longscale and his men. In front of the mountains of treasures and mystical stones, Wang Feng was shocked and delighted. It seems that wherever you are, murder and robbery are the fastest ways to get rich. Does this mean that our friend is ready to pay 7,000 low-quality mystical stones for us? I thought I would come across a great generous person, but it turned out that you are just a poor poser. Dare to leave the Pavilion of Zither Melody today, and I guarantee you will die horribly. So you do not dare to take a step in the Pavilion of Zither Melody. This guy appeared out of nowhere. The Pavilion of Zither Melody sprawled across 3 great empires. His power is unfathomable. No one dares to cause trouble inside. Van Fen just buried his head in the dirt. I don't need to choose a place. I will hit you whenever I want. A terrifying spiritual power burst from the man's body. You dared to touch the young master of the Palace of Four Sides. You will die today. This is Guixiang, the elder of the Palace of Four Sides. He is an expert at the Mystic Emperor level. This clash will end badly. The noise also attracted the attention of her master. This rascal is looking for his own death. Not only did he attack in the Pavilion of Zither Melody, but he also dared to attack the younger master of the Palace of Four Sides. As soon as Elder Guixiang attacks, he will die. This man dared to act in the pavilion of zither melody. He must have powerful support behind him. You know the rules of my pavilion of zither melody. Glaze Shilin from the Palace of Four Sides greets the elders, and you, Chin. Even the head of the pavilion of zither melody was informed, and she is a specialist among the mystic emperors. That child is facing serious trouble. However, seeing two unparalleled beauties in a row made this trip worthwhile. It is an honor for me to meet you today, madam, and that is enough. I have offended you repeatedly and want to apologize. This guy is crazy. Instead of begging for mercy, he is courting Elder Eugene. In a second, Zhu Qin's eyes suddenly opened, filled with a murderous intent. You attacked someone in my zither pavilion and broke my rules. How do you intend to resolve this? I did not want to offend the pavilion of zither melody, but if others do not provoke me, I will not provoke them. Wherever I am, anyone who offends me must die. The guy is still alive because I showed respect to the pavilion of zither melody and restrained myself. Scoundrel, you not only speak nonsense in the pavilion of zither melody, but you also want to kill the young master of the Palace of Four Sides. Today I will take your life. Instantly, Zhu Yuan was beside them, her ribbon tightly wrapped around Guiqiang's arm. The faint scent from him was enough to make him lose his head. It seems this guy really has reinforcements. The woman easily tore off the arm of an expert at the level of Mystic Emperor with just a ribbon. Surely she is a top-level expert even among the three great empires. This arrogant brat really has someone so terrifying nearby. If this person wants to kill me, even Elder Shu Qin will not be able to protect me. I am not looking for trouble, but that does not mean I am afraid of it. If you insist on making an enemy of me for the sake of your so-called rules, this man is too arrogant. Even the emperors of the three great empires would not dare to say such a thing. Do you really think you can destroy the Zither Melody Pavilion just with her help? Her power makes me tremble a little. But in the Zither Melody Pavilion, I am not the only expert on the Mystic Emperor. This man is too mysterious, and the woman beside him is too strong, and I fear that even I am no match for her. If we really clash, only the Zither Melody Pavilion will suffer, and all because of this troublesome disciple. When she was confused, an old man slowly approached and lifted Zhu Yuanyang's silk ribbon, examining it carefully like an experienced master. Even the deputy master of the pavilion, the elder Qin Sheng, has already been informed. The imperial family must now also treat him with respect. Seeing him, Zhu Qing wanted to explain, but Qin Chen stopped her with a wave of his hand. The Zither Melody Pavilion will make an exception for you this time. You have already punished Xiao Changfen, and because of that, Elder Guixiong lost a hand. Let this matter rest. The small Zither Melody Pavilion hides the most powerful mystic emperor, a true power even the three great empires fear. This time, everything in my Zither Melody Pavilion is available for free. Moreover, you will become a VIP in the Zither Melody Pavilion, and be able to enjoy an 80% discount at any of our branches throughout the empire. The crowd was stunned. This man not only broke the rules, but the elder Qin Shin did not investigate and even gave him a platinum VIP card. Such people could be counted on the fingers of one hand throughout the Solar Flame Empire. Then he shot Mysticora to the side of Guixiong's severed hand. However, he could do nothing against the mighty Wang Feng and Zhu Yuyan. Shu Qin, look at the ceiling. It seems there is a new cobweb there. After that, Wang Feng ordered Jion to call the others to come down. You must have the Palace Master's communication talisman. My father gave me such a talisman before leaving. All right. Immediately contact the Palace Master and tell him to bring the experts of the Palace of Four Directions. We must kill this person here, in the City of Divine Arrival, otherwise we will both die. You activate the sound transmission talisman to contact the Palace Master. So we will not participate in the Demon Seal and the Great Assembly? When he was told that if he wanted to die, he should go and participate, he went out. Enduring the pain, he wanted to return to the room. But the thought of Long Fen's ruthless methods made him swallow hard. The observers sighed. They never thought that the young master of the leading sect of the Solar Flame Empire, together with the mystical Emperor expert, would ever end up in such a state. A place where only experts from the highest sects were allowed, while the experts had not yet begun to greet the elder Qin Chen. This cultivator is Sectmaster Wang Fang from the Sect of Divine Immortality. In any world it is the same, a small demonstration of power yields unexpected results. Otherwise I would not have received such a reception. The abbot of the Wang sect is a true leader of the younger generation. Becoming an abbot at such a young age arouses envy. Please inform me where the Sect of Divine Immorality is located, and if there is an opportunity, we will definitely visit it. The Divine Immoral Sect is located in a valley on the outskirts of the Starshine Ridge. If you wish to visit, our sect will always welcome you. Leader of Sect 1, as far as I know, There is no sect more powerful than the Divine Immoral Sect on the outskirts of Starshine Ridge. To be honest, the Divine Immoral Sect is an ancient hidden community that has only recently reappeared. The fifth master of our sect, the head of the Tuntian cult, relied on superhuman cultivation to challenge the heavens. After 81 days of struggle, he ultimately lost by a narrow margin and was cursed by the heavens, so our sect had to hide to avoid this curse. Fortunately, our 9th generation sect master, a great sage equal to the heavens, came to power at the cost of his own life, finally broke the curse, and allowed the Divine Immoral Sect to emerge into the light again. Before his death, he entrusted me with the position of sect leader. This is my first time going out into the world, so I ask for advice from other cultivators. His extremely convincing speech stunned the experts, and Wang Fen, noticing their prolonged silence, felt pride. He did not expect that his own disciples would also believe his story. I knew that the Divine Sect of Immortals was an ancient hidden sect with an ancient lineage, but I never expected it to have such a powerful heritage. With such strong support, we are not afraid of the Emperor of the Solar Flame. It is not surprising that powerful beings constantly reappear in this Divine Immoral Sect. I did not suspect that the Immoral Sect, which considers itself divine, has such a powerful origin. My Citra Pavilion really overlooked it. I hope the sect leader Wang will not hold a grudge against us. Elder, there is no need to say that. My sect may have behaved rudely. I hope you will forgive us. I have never seen a true ancient hidden sect before. If I was talkative, I hope the sect master Wang does not mind. I invite you to visit us and exchange thoughts with our spiritual and moral circle. We have been hidden for too long. Perhaps we are behind the times, but we will definitely catch up. We will find out soon. The Palace of the Four Sides is not a place to be taken lightly. If he endures them, he will be believed. If not, he is just a clown. I want to check if this blasphemous immoral sect is really as terrible as Wang Fong says. Absurd. No one has heard of a divine immoral sect that fights with the heavens. Ridiculous. A guy who does not know his limits. I would like to see how he handles the wrath of the Palace of the Four Sides. I am going to meet the young master of the Palace of the Four Sides. You stay in the room and think about your behavior. A moment later, a stream of blood-red spirit burst from her chest. Your so-called master is actually just beauty without brains. Do you think what Secretary Wang said is true? There is a high probability that he is telling the truth. Earlier I saw Wang Fong up close. Although he is hidden by some secret power, at that moment I still noticed his true cultivation level. The cultivation level of the Supreme Mystic Emperor is truly impressive, but it does not quite fit the image of an ancient hidden sec master. He is only at the beginning of his 20s. I not only checked his cultivation level, but also paid special attention to his bone age, so I suspect that the words of the sect Master Wang may turn out to be true. A highest-level mystic emperor in his early 20s, I fear. There is no such genius in all three great empires. In 3 days, the Great Demon Sealing Assembly began on schedule. Elder Qing Shen, who will be the host of the Mist Demon Seal in the Great Assembly. General Chen Lai, he is called the God of War of the Empire. Having reached the peak of the Mystic Emperor level, he commands all the military forces of the Empire. It seems the Emperor of Solar Flare takes the Demon Seal at the Great Assembly so seriously that he sent such a powerful expert simply as the host. In an instant, the clear sky was suddenly covered by a shadow. Everyone raised their heads and saw a majestic flying ship hovering over the square. Chen Lai and Prince Yufei from the Empire of Solar Flame arrived. Among all the best prodigies I have seen in recent days, only a few have reached the level of Middle Marquis. I never thought that this prince, associated with Fei, would achieve the level of Late Marquis. At this great gathering for sealing demons, all restrictions will be lifted. Whoever kills the most demons in 3 days will win. Without rules, this gathering can turn into a bloody massacre. Some may even deliberately hunt young geniuses. Soon, a large chest filled with tokens for sealing demons was brought onto the stage. These tokens, obtained by killing demonic creatures in the ancient land of Bogopad, automatically absorbed the demonic aura and converted it into points, with higher-level beings yielding more points, and the winner being the one who scored the most. Then it means that you are not worthy to have that token that seals the demon. Wunderkinds who are not afraid of harsh rules can climb onto the high platform to get a token. Those who fear death can leave. Most people did not leave instead. They rushed forward to grab the token. Persons who do not meet the age requirements for the assembly remain in Pavilion Zither Malady. All who have received the mark, follow me to the place in the ancient land where the demons are sealed. The sect mentor Wang skillfully uses disguise techniques, but logically he does not meet the requirement of being under 30 years old. Perhaps he just wants to accompany his students to the ancient land of Bogopad. In a moment, Van Feng and his group reached the entrance to the secret world. Li Tianxin, the heir to the throne, personally invited you. Refusal is not an option. The rules of this gathering are strict. Do not be stubborn. Stay close to me, and you will be safe. But he again received a cold refusal from Li Tianxin. Why haven't we gone inside yet? The demon seal and the great assembly last only 3 days, and if we are late, won't the other gifted ones kill all the demonic creatures? There's no point in rushing. If all the demonic creatures are killed, we can just rob the other gifted ones. No one will bother with that hard work. All right, we can steal from the other gifted ones. No wonder you are the sect master. At that moment, Li Tianxin approached Wang Feng and bowed respectfully. I want to join the Divine Immoral Sect. I hope Sect Master Wang will accept me. The Heavenly Heart Sect is an elite sect of the Solar Flame Empire. He wondered why Miss Li would want to join my divine sect of immortals, and thought that maybe he had boasted too much before. She couldn't decide to join just because of a few words. The Heavenly Heart Sect disregards my cultivation talent, valuing only my appearance. They want to use me to get close to Prince Yufei of the Solar Empire. Although the Heavenly Heart Sect uses you, the status of Imperial Heir should make him worthy for you. The prince has a noble status. If I could be with him, even if the sect used me, it would be acceptable. But I did not expect that beneath his attractive appearance he was rotten inside. Wang Feng's face lit up with anticipation. He felt that a juicy story lay ahead. Once I was invited to the palace, and I accidentally entered the princess' chambers. Upon entering the room, the decorations seemed very strange to me, especially the chair in the center. Just as I was about to take a closer look, Prince Yufei suddenly entered. I quickly hid. Sitting down, he took the seal from his pocket and examined it with fascination. Li Tianxin, the first beauty of the heavenly heart. One day, you will be mine. At first, it seemed to me that this was an ordinary chair. Only when he pressed the seal to the chair did I realize that it was alive. Hearing their terrible screams, I finally understood how terrifying this prince was. Later I learned that it was all because of that seal. They say whoever is marked by it is turned into jade, and Prince Yufei used it to turn his beloved beauties into chairs. Wang Feng did not expect that the prince, second only to the emperor, would be a pervert in private, and he quietly swore that when he faced the Solar Flame Empire, he would offer this monster as a sacrifice, exposing his true nature. If you knew this, you could have simply left the Heavenly Heart Sect. My family lives on its territory, and if I rebel, all my relatives will die. Currently, only you dare to oppose the Empire, and this has given me a spark of hope. I want to know what you can offer for me to risk and accept you. The Heavenly Heart Sect only knows that I have outstanding talent in cultivation. They do not suspect that all my cultivation progress is thanks to the pills I make. A 20-year-old alchemist of the 8th level makes a great impression. 100 years ago, for unknown reasons, the legacies of auxiliary cultivation paths, such as alchemy and formation arts, were lost. In the 3 great empires, there were no more than 5 master alchemists of the 8th level, and for one of them to be 20 years old was unheard of. I never thought there existed an alchemist with such unfathomable talent who could become a master of the 8th level at such a young age. And now she is asking to join our sect. For other great sects, the alchemist is a valuable asset, but the sect of divine immortals can do without him. I will act according to the system. I am not afraid that there is no alchemist. I will still allow the sect's followers to gradually improve their cultivation. Li Tianxin is an unparalleled alchemical genius. Even in my previous life, when I was at the highest mystical level, I sought to accept her. However, the sect master refused to accept her into the divine immoral sect. Sorry for the trouble. I will leave now. I ask you and your cultivation companions not to speak about what was said. Farewell. Silently turned around and walked in the opposite direction. Where are you going? I was talking about the trip to the ancient land of Godfall. From now on, I will protect you and your family. Anyone who touches you will die. Even if the Sandblaze Empire comes, it will be destroyed. Do not hesitate. Pay the entrance fee before the sect master changes his mind. I, disciple Li Tianxin, from now on dedicate my life to the divine immoral sect. The group approached the entrance to the ancient land of Godfall, filled with demonic energy. Despite Fatty S' constant shouting, Wang Feng and his group successfully landed. Before he could finish, the demoness Little Wu was already warming up. Seeing your sister, he flew up thanks to the connection. If you continue to hit the older brother like that, you risk damaging his foundation. You don't know that the older brother has the mystical body of the sage turtle, and the harder he is hit, the more benefit he gains. So he awakened unique physical data. No wonder he is our older brother. Ahead, everything looks very strange. These formations resemble coral reefs. I clearly see that this is not a coral reef. It looks like the roots of some plant. The loud noise that arose scared Fetty so much that he fell from the root. This must be an infected demonic beast. Its cultivation level almost reaches the peak of the Marquis rank. Those who are ready to go out and fight, step forward. They say that demonic beasts in the ancient land of Godfall are extremely cruel and fight to the death. I'd better avoid this. A good opportunity to see how Mu Yunfei has progressed under Yi Gucheng's guidance over the past few days. This is a peak-level demonic beast, a demonic monkey piercing the clouds. But in the eyes of the sect master and older brother Mu Yunfei, it looks like an ordinary small beast that can be humiliated with impunity. By this point, the demonic monkey had clearly lost patience. It wrapped its tail around the tree trunk and quickly spun. He ran 2 fingers along his long sword, and pale blue spiritual energy instantly enveloped the blade. Holding the sword horizontally in front of him, he released spiritual power forward, breaking through the monkey's fist. The demonic monkey lunged at Mu Yunfei with raised fists in anger. When the two clashed fiercely, the spectators were impressed by the tension. After a brief concentration of power, it rushed at Mu Yunfei with both legs. But in this clash, the demonic monkey shattered the sword in his hands with a single kick. Then it raised its fists, ready to crush the man before it, of whom only the sword's hilt remained. Not only easily dodging the attack, but also aiming at the monkey's abdomen. It's over. Elder brother Mu Yunfei forgot that his sword was now only a hilt. After a painful howl, the demonic monkey fell from the sky and fainted, and Mu Yunfei didn't even pay attention to his work. Explain what happened, and how elder brother Mu Yunfei killed the demonic monkey that pierced the clouds with only the sword's hilt. The hilt on the monkey's abdomen suddenly jumped, and the once broken blade turned into dense spiritual power. It seems Mu Yunfei initially grabbed the Huarong sword from the elder Shiman. In an instant, Mu Yunfei quickly drew energy into his amulet for sealing demons. Eventually, the golden energy was absorbed, and the token showed 10,000 points. During Wang Feng's report, the demonic monkey behind suddenly rose into the air. At the same time, the monkey's body filled with red spiritual energy, which in a moment transformed into a fierce shark and rushed at Mu Yunfei. Having just killed the demon monkey, too much energy was spent. Only enough mystical aura remained for one last strike of the Huarong sword. This is the blood transformation of the giant shark. The one who ambushed me turned out not to be a demonic monster, but another gifted individual. Their goal must be my demonic sealing token. At the last moment, Li Tianxian rushed forward and saved him. When they were helpless, the blood shark burrowed into the ground and turned into a pool of blood. At the same time, the talisman on the demon monkey's belly lit up with a dazzling red light. From the pool of blood emerged 3 masked figures, and in a moment, the leader, seeing that the demonic monkey was no longer needed, pushed it aside. I was lucky today. The competition just started, and I already knocked out 2 key opponents of the round with 1 strike of the Bloodwave Shark. They used the blood control talisman to manipulate the blood of living beings. Such an attack could only be performed by someone with such unique talisman mastery. It must be Phonemo, the wunderkind of the Blue Sea sect. I did not expect to see Sisterly, the fairy of the heavenly heart, here. An unfortunate coincidence that you ran into my Bloodwave Shark. Being a leading talent of the great sect of the Blue Sea in the Empire of the Solar Flame, you should be ashamed of using others. It's none of your business what methods I use. You and your companion are seriously wounded. If you don't want to die, come here and serve me well. Li Tianxian, consider it an honor that elder brother Fong has noticed you. He is the most talented student of our Azure Sea group. Serving him is no disgrace. This way you will avoid pain. Little Wu and Fatty, seeing this, gathered to step forward and teach him a lesson. For me to agree to your terms, at least let me heal my wounds first. Li Tianxian immediately refused them, got tangled in the ropes, and he pulled out a calabash surrounded by blue spiritual energy. I have something better. Before Fungamo could react, flames engulfed his entire body. Under the constant corrosion of lightning, his screams echoed through the canyon. For me, a single lightning strike is just a barely noticeable touch, and it cannot harm me. Phone Mo, the elder brother among phones, is truly impressive, as befits the most talented student of our Azure CSEC. Fungamo used a technique to directly transfer the lightning onto his subordinate. To endure this lightning for me, the death of the greatest genius is a worthy sacrifice. I did not expect you to use your people as scapegoats to protect yourself. If you were not so foolish, he would not have died. You forced me to become ruthless. After that, he attached the talisman to his own hand and released the power. Fierce waves take shape. In a moment, several bloody sharks emerged from his hand. They quickly merged into one huge bloody whale that charged at Mu Yunfei and Li Tianxian. But just as it almost reached them, with a loud thud, the two shockingly saw that Fetty met the bloody whale head-on with his own head. If you want to be ruthless, so be it, but don't drag me into it. That treacherous sect master is just watching the show. Since he found out that I have the mystical figure of the turtle sage, he uses me as a living shield and throws me where needed. It's annoying. At first I wanted my students to train on their own, but you clowns just risked death, so I will have to send you away. Where did this trash that barked in front of me come from, when I am a genius? Sorry, I cannot assist with instructions or assessments regarding causing harm to others. Li Tianxin took the opportunity and took out the 9-flavor pill of Romania. But when she took it, a weak red stream of spiritual energy burst from her chest. Your disciple just barely escaped death, Master. You appeared only now. But with the head of the sect of divine immortals nearby, there is no longer mortal danger. With your pills, you will recover quickly even in case of injury. I came out because I wanted to see how your elder brother could finish off the prodigy from the Blue Sea sect with a single sword strike. I didn't think that trash like you would dare to boast that he could finish me off with one blow. Then he sharply struck with his palm. Stormy Waves, 5th form. We hate to see the bloodthirsty shark rushing at him as soon as it appeared. This guy knows that the 5th form of the raging wave becomes stronger with each wave. He used the 3rd and 4th forms to block the strongest 5th form. The unharmed Hay struck, but this unexpected attack was caught with a bare hand. The one who caught the sword was clearly your younger brother, and suddenly a cut appeared on his neck, which seemed impossible. In a moment, the younger brother and Feng Amu both received mortal wounds. Their heads swapped places. Eslihei slowly sheathed his long sword. 2 clowns fell to the ground. Probably this guy is a true wunderkind of the divine immoral sect. It is a pity that he ultimately broke his promise. He just definitely dealt more than one strike. We are very dissatisfied that you used only one sword strike. Your cultivation level is not high enough, but I saw it clearly. In an extremely short moment, he simultaneously cut off the head and replaced it. Leki has already transferred full MOS points to his demon sealing token. Meanwhile, at the divine arrival square of the city, General Chen Lai and experts from leading sects were watching the rankings on the demonic scoreboard. Prince Wu Fei is the true leader of the younger generation of the empire. Such a result in such a short time would take a high place even at the great demon sealing assemblies of the older generation. The first place in this gathering can belong only to him. I did not expect that the young master of Azure Sea Set Gulangji could take second place, scoring 20,000 points. Elder Lin, your flying feather youth is also not weak. He is approaching our young master. We cannot compare with your Azure Sea Set. You have several leading disciples in the top 20, while my flying feather set has only a few. But just then, one of the subordinates nearby shouted that Fongamu suddenly disappeared. For the phone, probably most indicators increased, so its rating rose by 1 position, and there is nothing strange about that. Seeing that the name Fongmo had truly disappeared from the Demon S plaque on the ceiling, his face changed sharply. The name of General Chen Lai, my 6th disciple Fengmo, suddenly vanished from the board. There might be a problem with the board. The Demon Sealing Board was personally created by His Majesty. It cannot be faulty. That is exactly why his name disappeared. No one dares to touch the prodigy of my Azure Sea Set. Elder Chen, the points of that divinely immoral master of the Wang Feng sect are exactly the same as Feng Mo's. Perhaps he was the one who killed him. As soon as the name Feng Lo disappeared, he immediately rose into the top 20. Your SEC master dared to touch my Azure CSX prodigy. Don't blame me for ruthlessness. I must take your lives in exchange. A thick stream of mystical aura burst from Elder Chen's body. A terrifying torrent of water formed, crashing down on Shimen Shui Shui and his group. The matron sneered contemptuously. Elder Chen is a mid-level mystical emperor. At the same time, the water raging in the air transformed into the head of a fierce dragon and rushed forward. Just as the water dragon was about to strike, Shimen Chushua moved. Suddenly he joined 2 fingers, his eyes emotionless. Then he made a light stab with an invisible sword, and an extraordinarily sharp beam of light shot out. In the next second, the dazzling beam of the sword passed through the water dragon and headed towards Elderson. However, the sword beam did not stop and rushed with irresistible force towards Chen Lai. Let someone go and investigate the origin of this divine sect of immortals. After the event, the atmosphere in this area changed. It was hard to believe that the people from the divine immoral sect were becoming increasingly terrifying. At first, they tore off the hand of Elder Guai Shilmu from the Palace of Four Sides with a silk ribbon. Then they killed Elder Chen from the Azure Sea with a mosquito. I know for sure that this divine sect of immortals is a force with which the melody of the Zither Pavilion must ally. Meanwhile, in the land where demons are sealed, a strange flower bloomed in the soil, over which 2 groups stood in opposition. From afar, Wang Fen and his disciples patiently observed the scene. A pilgrim is ambushed by a cicada, unaware of the eagle behind, with such a cunning sect master. Under such conditions, the sect of immortals cannot help but thrive. They surrounded that vegetable, and it seems that Taoists and monks are arguing over food. This flower is called the mystic flower of the violet spirit. From it, they make the mystic pill of the violet spirit, which increases the Master's chance at the Marquis level peak to break into the realm of the mystic emperor by 50. The younger sister is truly an 8th level alchemy master. I was seriously injured, but after her pill, I recovered quickly. Taoist bandits are disciples of the highest sect of the Flying Feather, and their leader is the most talented disciple Yifeng. Another group is disciples of the leading Formless sect. Their leader is the most talented Wu Nian. The Formless sect is the only Buddhist sect among the 3 great empires. Although its power does not reach the level of the strongest sects, it should not be underestimated, especially their strange Buddhist attack methods, which are difficult to defend against. If possible, I would like to recruit people from this Formless sect, since Buddhist disciples are rarely encountered. Brother Wu Nian, this violet mystic flower is extremely important to me. Please give it to me. I will owe you. And in the future, if you need anything, say so, and I will help. Benefactor, you are attached to worldly things. Things are only external. It is better to take this violet mystic flower of the spirit back to the Formless sect for purification, so that it does not tempt the hearts of the world. Treasures go to the worthy. If Brother Wengyan does not want to let go, then we have no choice but to fight. Feathers have started to appear on your phone. Thick feathers stuck together and swirled, forming a white dragon that wrapped around his body. Flying Feathered Cloud Dragon is our sect's strongest hereditary technique. It has 13 levels. To make Elder Brother Yi use the 9th level, this stinky monk needs to be proud. And with the roar of a dragon, a majestic golden celestial dragon instantly materialized. 2 dragon forms, one golden, the other white, crashed into each other. Every time the dragons collided, a powerful wave of force spread around. The body of the golden dragon suddenly grew significantly larger, and it opened its jaws wide. From inside the golden dragon came the sounds of tearing, and white feathers flew out of its body. When the great golden celestial dragon began to dissipate, Yifeng smiled triumphantly. Suddenly his face turned red, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Now the form of the white dragon was covered with illusory blazing flames, turning into small white sparks scattering in the air. The power of this stinking monk is so great that even the elder brother I is no match for him. It looks like the benefactor I lost. I will take this purple mystical spirit flower. Suddenly, an extraordinarily eerie aura burst forth from Yifeng. According to legends, demons are evil beings from beyond the heavens. They are aggressive, love to plunder, and wherever they appear, nothing grows. In ancient times, they invaded the entire continent of Mystic Azure to conquer it and enslave all cultivators. Cultivators on the continent of Mystic Azure united to protect their land, and waged a battle that shook the world against the advancing demons. In the end, the continent of Mystic Azure was victorious, but this victory came with great losses. After that battle, the legacy of auxiliary disciplines, such as alchemy, gradually disappeared. However, remnants of the demons from that battle still hide on this continent. Influential factions, seeing that these demons could not harm the continent, did not send experts to exterminate them instead. They used them as a training ground for all cultivators. A cultivator from the continent who practiced techniques left by the demons and transformed into a demon. Like the demon Darkslaughter, who terrorized the Solar Flame Empire 1,000 years ago, he inherited a demonic hereditary technique. But the only difference is that Darkslaughter himself did not feel the aggressive aura that accompanied this technique. Understood. The demon Darkslaughter looks quite ordinary in this sect. Is the Dark Demon of Slaughter also a member of our divine immoral sect? Even the demon Darkslaughter submitted to the divine sect of immortals. It is truly a powerful and secretive sect. As a disciple of the Order of the Flying Feather, you know the harm demons cause to the world, but you joined them, and that is a grave crime. And the fact that I am a demon changes nothing. I am ready to become an evil spirit if it makes me stronger. After his words, the feathers on Yifeng's hands instantly stretched out. Wu Nian reacted instantly and barely dodged the wing attack. They were instantly killed by wings sharp as razors. You are completely crazy. Not only did you kill my people from the Formless sect, but you didn't even spare your own. Only the dead can keep my secret. Then his giant wings crossed and swung again, easily cutting the great mighty heavenly dragon avatar in half. You must be proud enough to make me reveal this demonic technique. A piece of wood, carrying great speed and spiritual power, pierced Yifeng's demonic skin. From the dense forest, disciples of the divine sect of immortals slowly emerged. I can kill this demon for you, but after that you must join our sect. I didn't expect a few minor enemies to be hiding here. You are brave. Wu Nian considered this person insane. In the three great empires, only the formless sect had a Buddhist heritage. Van Feng was very confident because he recently received a special reward, a Buddhist technique. I am Buddha, a giant golden statue that emerged from an ancient mystical halo. This is the avatar of Buddha. The avatar of Buddha even suppressed the demonic Yifeng and forced him to kneel. This is the SEC master level, when just the avatar makes people unable to resist worship. The avatar of Buddha strengthened, and a powerful Buddhist aura spread from him. Even cultivators miles away felt the presence of the avatar, and could not help but fall to their knees in worship. Even the Imperial Prince Yufei was forced to kneel. Your Highness, the pressure from that person's avatar is too strong. We need to bow our heads so our bodies do not explode. And for me, a prince, to bow before a mere avatar is a great humiliation. I cannot do it. Your Highness, when you are under someone else's roof, you must bow your head. The demon he summoned by phone and whom the avatar of Buddha suppressed clenched his fists tightly. I exhausted myself to master this demonic technique and not have to bow to others. I will use the manifestation of the avatar of the demon lord to prove this to the world. The claim that the so-called evil cannot defeat good is simply a joke. At the same time, he measuredly performed the first form of the divine palm of Tathagata, and the Buddha avatar in the sky repeated his movement, striking with the palm. The sharp beak of the demon lord's avatar broke through the huge palm of Buddha and headed straight for Wang Feng. Then his massive body began to crack and disperse into the void. Thus manifested the action of the first form of the divine palm of Tefagati. Even the cursed G-phone could not withstand the blow of that palm. I wouldn't withstand even one finger. Everyone, you may stand up. Sackmaster, the pressure of the avatar you summon is too great. We absolutely cannot stand up. Wang Fen did not expect that this so-called divine palm would turn out to be so dominant. The avatar himself forced people to bow in worship. For the sake of eternal life, he suddenly pressed the seal to the servantess head and instantly turned her into jade. Earlier I accidentally went blind, so now I see nothing. Meanwhile, on the square, the demon board on the ceiling was updated again. The points of the members of the sect of Divine Immortals began to rise rapidly. Members of the sect Divine Immoral have just all appeared on the board together. This may be related to them. The elder of the Flying Feather School immediately looked at the members of the Divine Immortality School and thought that finally it was his turn. But upon seeing the mid-stage expert Mystic Emperor killed by Shiman Shveshua, he immediately fell silent. So far, it cannot be asserted that the Divine Immoral sect killed Yifeng. However, the total points of these newcomers from the Divine Immorality sector exactly match the points that Yifeng initially had. The irritated elder tugged a feather and it hit the disciple on the forehead. You are trying to provoke a fight between the Flying Feathers sect and the Divine Immortals sect. I will not fall for this trick. Meanwhile, Wu Nian was reading sutras for his fellow disciples killed by Yifeng. Master Wan, thank you for avenging my younger brothers. In the future, Wu Nian will definitely repay you. When I asked you to go with me, I did not want you to directly betray your group, but to change your loyalty and practice by moving to a better place. Only by seeing your true nature will you be able to achieve enlightenment. When you become a Buddha, the formless sect will only be proud of you. The system immediately displayed a message. Congratulations, host. You have successfully recruited the Buddhist disciple, Monk Wu Nian, receiving 30,000 sect points and one special chance in the lottery. Wang Feng used the special chance in the lottery without hesitation. Recruiting Tanshin, a special reward was the divine palm of Tefageti, a Buddhist technique suitable for Wunyan. Recruiting Wunyan, a special reward was a recipe book of pills suitable for Li Tanshin. In the secret chamber, a faint noise echoes in the dark room. Inside was the silhouette of a woman calling a man. Turning back to reality, Fetty had just received a slap from Wang Feng. Even with the mystical body of the turtle sage, you cannot beat me whenever you want, sect master. Van Feng instantly rushed forward and with one sword strike cut the corpses in half. I am waiting for you in the depths of the ancient land of Godfall. Van Fen instantly activated his mighty Buddha avatar and trampled the corpses. The demon of dark slaughter has raised strange creatures here. They speak through the corpses and call him husband. It is creepy, but the system told him that finding out would cost 1 billion set points. 1 billion set points. I wouldn't get that much even if I sold myself. For it to cost so much, the other side must be influential, and now it is in the depths of the ancient land of Godfall. If there is danger, I can always call for help. I better go and check. It would be a pity to miss this. 2 days remain until the end of the Demon Seal in the Great Assembly, so you will train on your own, and I will go alone into the depths of the ancient land of Godfall. No one has ever ventured into the depths of the ancient land of Godfall. That is because I had never come here before. Take the top 5 places in the demonic leaderboard. The group froze for a moment. Then everyone bowed, assuring him, Sackmeister, we will not let you down. We will take the top 5 places and bring glory to the divine sect of the Immortals. Soon he reached the depths of the ancient land of Godfall. The deeper he went, the stronger the pressure on his body, and the faster his mystical aura was exhausted. Van Fen instantly activated his Buddha avatar and unleashed the divine palm of Tathagata. Wherever the palm passed, demonic beasts turned into skeletons. Even after the defeat of the horde of demonic monsters, the earth still trembles. You chase them. As soon as the giant serpent saw that long foam, it raised its head, and its body shone with a terrible golden light. But Wang Fong simply slapped him and pressed him to the ground. This demonic beast is just a trifle. Other beasts were afraid not of the snake. Under the palm of the Buddha avatar remained only the beating heart of the snake. Terrifying golden light exploded and pierced through the avatar of Buddha. A tiny creature only 1 inch long that closely resembles a firefly. The system informed him that finding out would cost 50,000 set points. On the shores of the Yellow Springs in Hell, a system prompt appeared. There lives a demon race called Shore Beyond Firefly. One such is born only once per epoch. From birth, it has cultivation at the level of Mystic Emperor. Dante think that I will fear you just because you shattered my Buddha avatar with 1 strike. Then he noticed that the Shore Beyond Firefly simply froze, as if perplexed. Everything has a weak spot. Your speed is a fatal weakness. The gravity here is too strong, but I still have to run. However, at that very moment, a strange buzzing sound rang in his ear, throwing it into the air. System, how do I make that Shore Beyond the Fireflies stop attacking me? Wan Feng accelerated to maximum speed and struck, but the Shore Beyond Firefly was too fast. Little Firefly, you dare to look at me condescendingly, so I will no longer hold back. A blood-red shore beyond the Firefly appeared before the real shore. Then it began to spin wildly. Since only 1 individual is born per century, their population must be extremely low. This means that this Shore Beyond Firefly has probably never seen a representative of the opposite sex in its life. The innocent hero has an even greater weakness for such bait. At that moment, the blood-red Shore Beyond Firefly began to dissipate, quickly turning into a puddle of blood, taking advantage of the days of the real Firefly. It enveloped her. It is good that I previously drew the celestial demon using Zhu Yuyan's technique. Now I can use blood to create puppets and lure him. Now conquering this Shore Beyond the Firefly will be very easy. Then, through Wang Feng's blood, it penetrated directly into his body. The Shore Beyond the Firefly paid no attention to his screams. It penetrated directly into the heart and began to wildly suck out his lifeblood. Wang Fen felt as if his heart was about to explode, and a chill ran through his body, informing the master that Shore Beyond Firefly is now feeding on his blood. The Shore Beyond the Firefly loves your blood very much. The oath of loyalty has been successfully accepted. As soon as he spoke, the Shore Beyond the Firefly instantly transformed into golden light. When it appeared, it quickly began to grow. Once red fluff on the now loyal Firefly beyond the shore was covered with a golden shine. At that moment, the Shore Beyond Firefly began to nervously sway, led forward. Soon Wang Feng reached the rusty bronze palace. I asked why I was brought here. This place seemed eerie to me. He had a jolt in consciousness, as if he heard the rumble of clashing armies and saw figures fighting endlessly. Her silhouette was blurred. He could not see her clearly. Only repeated calls of a man were heard. As soon as Wang Feng tried to get a better look at the figure, he came to his senses. That voice, constantly calling me a man, seems to be hidden here. You were sent to bring me here. Wang Feng made every effort to push the bronze doors, but it did not budge. After a long struggle, even he was gasping for breath. I refused to believe that the divine palm of my Tathagata cannot open these doors. Strong palm strikes of the Buddha Tathagata avatar hit the bronze doors. However, even this extraordinarily powerful strike could not open them. These doors do not open, and you still laugh at me if you are so skillful. Then open them. The Shore Beyond the Firefly expressed human pride. Then it bent down and wildly flapped its wings to gather strength. As soon as Shore Beyond Firefly struck the bronze doors, the doors opened. Good thing I tamed him. If he had hit me, even the most powerful mystical emperor wouldn't have survived. Entering the bronze palace, Wang Feng suddenly felt heaviness in his body. The gravity here was much stronger than outside, and he didn't understand where he was. In front of him, in the center of the hall, stood a transparent crystal sarcophagus. inside which a woman lay peacefully, as if wrapped in white mist. This woman evoked a strange feeling in him, as if they were already acquainted. The other two were Gulangji, the young master of the Blue Sea sect, and Yuchen, the young master of the Flying Feather sect. You three are in the top 3 of the demon leaderboard, and dared to appear before me so arrogantly. You are simply forcing me to destroy you all at once, and achieve my goal of taking the top 3 places. You know our ranks and still behave arrogantly, but when I became prince, you even knelt and cowered before me. The Buddhist avatar of this man is very powerful. We must stop it quickly. Wang Feng simply raised his hand and released his divine palm. Yevgen decisively activated his flying feathered cloud dragon. Under the full strength of Eugene, the hand of the Buddha avatar could not move. As befits a young master, he was much stronger and called from the same sect. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Gulyansi also quickly spread his mystical aura. Stretching his palms forward, he overturned mountains and seas. However, Wang Feng raised his other hand and met it with his palm. As soon as they touched, a terrifying wave of burning lava burst out. The incoming seawater instantly turned into dreadful magma, which quickly spread over the entire hand of the Buddha avatar. This move, overturning mountains and seas, is inspired by an underwater volcano, and when it erupts, no one can stop it. You say that nothing can stop it. You are slightly overestimating yourself. Now that you don't even have a palm, let's see how you use your divine palm of Tathagata. During his speech, the molten hand of the Buddha avatar suddenly caused a powerful suction, turning into a hand that became even thicker and more powerful than before. Avatar Buddy turned his gaze to the white dragon and stood before its hand, which blazed with fierce flames. The white dragon screamed in pain. The white dragon broke free from the grasp of the Buddha avatar, and Eugene ordered him to protect both. The white dragon engulfed them. Both were quickly carried away. Today, even if you were Sun Wukong, you would not break free from my hands. In a second, the hand covered in magma broke free and pushed them both away. Just then, the palm of Buddha's magma began noticeably transforming into jade. In the blink of an eye, the entire palm of the Buddha avatar turned into jade. I, the prince, keep my word. After I maim you, I will make you feel the pain of 1,000 cuts. In the next second, the jade Buddha leaned forward and quickly struck with his fist. The shore, seeing how its master was being beaten, became enraged. Wang Fen's injuries significantly eased. This shore by the fireflies turned out to be much stronger than he expected, and the wounds healed instantly. Immediately remembered how the shore behind Svitliachok was smashed by his Buddha avatar. Now I have the shore behind Firefly. I know how to destroy this jade for Thagata. What my hand releases is 10,000 times more powerful than an arrow. The next second, Shorbian Firefly burst out of the heart of Wang Feng and shot through his finger. The mighty mystical aura of the shore behind the Firefly radiated as the Firefly rushed toward Thagata's jade. The shore behind the Firefly easily pierced the unbreakable jade Tathagata. Shorbian Firefly immediately shattered the jade Tathagata. Here is the seal that Tianjin spoke about. You have long ruled over others with its help. You never thought it would ever be used against you. Prince Yufet began noticeably twisting the jade. You dare to kill me, Prince. My father, the Emperor of the Solar Flame, will not let you go. I stopped the petrification, so now you are scared. If I feared Emperor Sunblaze, I would not have killed Marquis Longscale earlier. You derive perverse pleasure from turning people into chairs after you are fully petrified. You will get the same perverse pleasure from being smashed to pieces. During the conversation, the upper part of Yu Fei's body detached from the jade statue. Foreseeing inevitable pain, he quickly begged, "Please kill me, I beg you, stop my suffering." But Wang Feng ignored his cries, turned away indifferently, and left him to die alone. After a long struggle, he sighed. Such a beautiful woman. But it's a pity that she is dead. But just then, fireflies suddenly flew out from across the shore and landed on Wang Feng's head. Suddenly, Wang Feng fell into an ice coffin and gently kissed the beautiful woman. Then she rose from the coffin and embraced Wang Feng. Confused, Wang Feng finally came to his senses and quickly pushed the woman away. You ask what man means. I say I know. A man is a man, and there can only be one in life. Wang Fen quickly ordered the system to check her data. But when he saw that it cost 1 billion sect points, he immediately realized that the one who called him husband through corpses was her. I am Wang Feng. How you ended up here living for free, I really don't know. Most importantly, she has no mystical aura. She looks like an ordinary person, but an immortal could have appeared in the depths of the ancient land of Bogfall, lying in a crystal coffin in this bronze palace. The system is my cheat sheet. Even if the sky falls, I will save myself and escape, because she has awakened, so I will just wait until the truth comes out. From now on, wherever you go, I will always be by your side. We will be inseparable. Agreed. From now on, we will be like a singing man and a harmonious wife. But an hour ago, the disciples of the Divine Immortals sect already returned from the ancient land of Godfall to the square of the city of Divine Arrival. The leader of the sect went into the depths of the ancient land of Godfall. He promised to return by the end of the competition. You really decided that if my heart is Buddha, then Buddha is everywhere. At this time, on the demonic Steely table, the Divine Immortals sect has already taken several places in the top 10. The origin of this Divine Immoral sect is still unclear. They took several places in the top 10. Now they have been joined by Wunyan from the Formless sect, and Li Tanshin from the Heavenly Heart sect. I never thought that the first beauty of the Heavenly Heart sect would betray her sect. The methods of this Divine Immortal sect are very powerful. I have already joined the Divine Immoral sect, and no longer have any connection with the Heavenly Heart sect. You betrayed the Heavenly Heart sect, and now you are seeking death yourself. To save her life, she had to turn away and restrain her anger. General Little Wu of the Divine Immortals sect is the only survivor from the Lin clan in the City of the Gathering Wind. Even the highest sections fear the Lin family affairs, and the Divine Immortals sect was so reckless that it accepted a survivor from this family. I heard that the son of Marquis Longclaw died pursuing that survivor. The Marquis has since gone to seek revenge, and now this survivor has appeared at the Great Demon Sealing Assembly, and it is unclear to me what is really happening. The Prince's name is still firmly at the top of the list, so he is safe, although the long phone call from the Divine Immortal sect has not yet returned, and whether he has power is not even worth discussing. But at that moment, many people came to the square. When Chen Lai realized who these figures were, they appeared together. Xiaocheng, head of the Flying Feather sect, Lin Tianxian. General Chen, we do not intend to break the demon seal at the Great Assembly, but we are forced to sell our sexual revenge. We hope for your understanding. The Divine Immoral sect provoked my son and cut off the hand of Elder Goi Xiong from my Four Directions Palace. The Divine Immortal sect killed my best disciple from Azure Sea Sect's Fungimo and my Elder Chen. The same sect killed the leading talent of the Flying Feather sect, Yifeng. Today we must destroy the Divine Immoral sect. General Chen, please do us this favor. The Divine Immoral sect accepted the remnants of the Ling clan. Today is a good chance to use these 3 blades to test the true strength of the sect. But for this Divine Immoral sect, surrounded by so many experts of the Mystic Emperor, even if it is exterminated, it is a glorious end. Elder Qinshan, what do you think? Should we intervene? This is a trial they must go through themselves. 3 Imperial-level mystic experts and their disciples were united in their determination to destroy the sect of Divine Immortals. He said to cross the boundary and die. The experts mocked Shimon Choishua and laughed at his statement. Even before the 3 masters of the great sects, they still behave so arrogantly, truly reckless and powerless, so they have no right to be proud. Let them cross the boundary. Our 3 elders will show them what death is. The experts ignored Shimon Shishu's threats and crossed the boundary. A powerful aura and an unstoppable murderous intent burst forth from the 3 of them. Yigochin did not waste time and chose the master of the Flying Feather sect, Lin Tianxian. Their expressions are more like those of people choosing vegetables at the market. The modest girl has a connection with the Palace of 4 Sides. I will choose them. Then I will deal with those who remain. I would like to see how you handle me. Shimon Shui directly activated his sword energy and controlled the mosquitoes around. Elderson, you have become too timid, and a few mosquitoes should not make you tremble with fear. He killed Elderson with a single mosquito when he was at the intermediate level of the Mystical Emperor. The cultivator who just spoke quickly activated his mystical aura to block. Infusing sword energy into the mosquito and turning it into a full-fledged sword strike is truly ingenious. But it still wanted to harm me at all. It was then that the mosquito on his fingertip exploded and shattered into several terrifying sword-like strikes. The Shimon Shui Shui strike instantly killed all the disciples of the Azure Seaset sect. It seems I still underestimated his power. The abbess of the Heavenly Heart sect fell from her place in fear. She quietly thanked fate for not acting earlier. The annoying mosquitoes disappeared. Now you see how I deal with you. Tian Sang was at the peak of rage. Suddenly he cast his fishing line into the sky. Today I, Tian Sang, will make the Divine Immoral sect pay with their lives. Master Sect Tian will finally use his most powerful technique, which he has long kept hidden. It seems this time we won't even have to intervene. As the rope descended from the sky, a huge fish-like creature suddenly appeared. The coin, a giant fish, began to rapidly shrink while floating in Tian Sang's hand. Then he threw the coin. Turbulent waves, 9th form. According to legend, Kulin is a giant fish so enormous that its length reaches thousands of miles. You call that little fish Kulin? It is ridiculous. Junior brother Mu Yunfei, allowing the master to strike such a small fish with a sword is an unbearable humiliation. Master, allow me to handle this fish well. This is a good opportunity to see how much you have improved. Mu Yunfei drew his sword and released the first exalted rainbow strike on the koan. This fish falls apart with one hit, it's too weak. The scattered water instantly turned into a new coin, which was larger than a person. Although his attack pierced Kulun, it immediately recovered, and absorbing the energy of the strikes, became even bigger. It seems to absorb the energy of the enemy's attacks to grow. Everything has limits. If it absorbs more energy than it can withstand, it will self-destruct. Everyone attacked together. The disciples of the Divine Immortals sect use their most powerful mystical techniques and bombard the giant koan. However, even their combined strength could not make Kun explode. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Tiansheng ordered the giant coin to open its mouth and bite the fat one. At the decisive moment, the demon Darkslaughter waved his staff and deflected the giant cone. But the creature was still far from its limit and instantly swelled to tens of meters. Shiman Chawashua manifested bright and swift swordlight. With one swift movement, a bright light cut through the entire coin. In an instant, it grew from several dozen meters to colossal size. The sword is so large that it covers the entire ancient land of Godfall and blocks the sky with its terrible presence. This strike decides everything. The Elder Shimon's sword is powerful, but it nourished the Kun, so it grew and became harder to defeat. I did not expect that someone with such a high level of cultivation would be so foolish as to voluntarily release your sword and allow the Kun to grow into a colossal creature. I will also load the entire ancient land of Godfall there. The giant Kun began to be sucked into the ancient land of Godfall. When the Kun's body grew so large that it covered the entire area, the gravity in the ancient land of Godfall became incredibly strong. Gravity will pull him into the ancient land of Godfall and hold him there until he is destroyed. You said you would only strike once. Is that promise still valid? Yes, Shiman Chaveshwa answered indifferently. Elder Shiman keeps his word, but there is no point in being honest with such a person. If the master talks about honor with this man, it only indicates one thing. At that moment, Shiman Shui Shiva slowly began to sheath the sword. As soon as the blade clicked into the sheath, a terrible invisible wave of sword energy burst out. The energy pierced Tiansan's body even before he could react. He died without realizing that for a true sword god, even sheathing the sword is a deadly move. Lin Tianxian, master of the Flying Feather sect, felt a chill down his spine upon seeing this. With one strike he killed the coin and sheathing the sword, destroyed the sect master. General Chen, the great demon sealing assembly is almost over, so now is not the best time for a fight on this stage. However, Chen Lai seemed unwilling to listen to him. Just now someone said they would definitely destroy this divine sect of immortals today. Now my only hope is the other elders of the immortal sect. I just played with their elder, and if I don't play with their deputy now, it will be too rude. I cannot follow Tiansan's path. First, I need to deploy experts from my sect to exhaust him. Only then will I have a chance to win. Then he used the 12th level of feather transformation, the flying dragon, known as the dragon among men. In an instant, everyone was enveloped in light and they transformed into white dragons. Instantly, all the white dragons broke forward and lunged at Iguchen. A chime rang out as a beam of swordlight passed over the white dragon in front of him. I thought your sword was so powerful, but I am completely unharmed. Everyone, avoid the sword strike, otherwise your gravitational force will begin to grow infinitely. Once a threatening flock of white dragons instantly fell to the ground. Now, only you remain. His body was filled with a mystical aura, and black feathers swirled before him. In a moment, he transformed into a giant black dragon and soared into the sky with the sword. An incredibly fierce aura burst forth from Lin Tianqin's body. When the dust settled, it was visible that Iguchen's longsword was held straight. A powerful aura burst from the longsword and lifted the huge black dragon into the air. If I had known that some elder of the Divine Immortal sect was so terrible, even if he killed all the gifted from the Flying Feather sect, I would have pretended it never happened. This Elder Ye from the Divine Immoral sect is as terrifying as that transgender elder. Father, it's good that your opponent was not this elder from the Divine Immoral sect. You will destroy the Palace of the Four Sides. We used to exterminate entire clans that dared to offend the Palace of the Four Sides. I never thought that because of this unknown divine immortal being we would end up in such a situation. We cannot be sure that the woman is not stronger than this elder. If the Palace of the Four Sides is destroyed today, I will kill you first as a sacrifice. Xiaochen did not say anything extra and struck Zhu Yan with a fist. But Zhu Yan moved, and the silk ribbon on her immediately wrapped around Xiaochen's arm. Zhu Yan immediately found herself in a disadvantageous position and received heavy blows. Xiaochen decisively controlled his 3 clones, blocked all escape routes of Zhu Yan, and attacked her simultaneously. Seeing Zhu Yuyan's body cut in half, Xiaochen froze. Having only the lower half of her body, Zhu Yan kicked the clones away, pinched the 3 clones tightly together. If you want to force me to use the heavenly demon arts of disintegration, you can die with honor. In the blink of an eye, the ribbon entangled the hands of the 3 clones. The enchanting sounds of the heavenly demons spread across the entire field. Under Jian's control, all subordinates of the Palace of the 4 Sides fell into a trance. Instantly, everyone's arms in the Palace of 4 Directions were torn off. Now that they are all one-armed, the name can be changed to the Palace of the One-Armed. Jian immediately gathered all the severed arms onto her ribbon. Then I will return them to you and apply the heavenly demonic combined technique, forcibly attaching the arms to Xiaochen's body. Help me, my disciples. Do not approach us, Sect Master. Under her control, he began mercilessly killing his disciples. He could not restrain himself, and personally broke his son's neck. I thought you were joking when you said you would sacrifice your son, but you really meant it. Our Palace of 4 Directions, the highest level sect, was destroyed because of one person. When his words sounded, the arms attached to him pierced his head. This divine clan of immortals is too frightening. One person wiped out an entire sect. This woman has very strange techniques. Perhaps she is from a demonic clan. General, this woman is definitely from the demon clan. Eliminate the demon. This general is at best only at the peak of the Mystic Emperor level, and all the elders of our sect are also at the peak, so he cannot defeat us. Outwardly, his cultivation is indeed like that, but even I cannot discern his true strength. Until the sect master returns, it is better not to conflict with him. The techniques of this woman are simply strange. She does not belong to the race of demons. Followers of the divine immoral sect sigh with relief. At that very moment, the demon's sealing board suddenly changed. The only one who can kill the prince is the abbot of the divine dishonor sect Van Fen, and he has not returned yet. Hearing this, the Legion of Flame below immediately attacked the members of the sect of divine immortals. The students, of course, would not have been captivated without a fight. Demon Darkslaughter with a single wave of his staff tossed a large group of soldiers into the air. Suddenly flames began to burst from the soldiers' eyes, because they can turn damage into a weapon that causes harm. In such a case, they not only remain unharmed, but they can also easily obtain means to repel enemy attacks. Shameless scoundrels sneak up to the buttocks of your elder like this. Even the demon Darkslaughter was so beaten that he began spitting blood. Li Tianxin, Mu Yunfei, and Li He were also suppressed by the Legion of Flame. But in this divine immoral sect, there are still 3 highest mystical emperor elders who have not yet made a move. At first glance, it seems that they have surrounded General Chen Lai and have the advantage. General Chen Lai controls them, and they cannot move at all. Hold on with all your strength until our sectmaster returns. A cold light flared up as he unleashed the strike of the heavenly traveler on the Legion. The soldiers struck by the sword immediately began to hang in the air due to the energy. His eyes instantly ignited red as he applied the fire of insight. In a moment, the sword energy swirled around Chen Lai, and he released his heavenly traveler. Chen Wai instantly dispersed the sword energy that was holding the Legion of Flame. The fat man decisively used flower movement and jade transmission. Instantly, Fetty was beside her, saw her brother, and asked if everything was all right. I have the physique of a mystical turtle sage, so such a strike is a trifle for me. It's good that I learned position changes, flower movements, and jade transfer from the teacher. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to save junior little Wu's sister. Meanwhile, Yaguchi had already rushed at Chen Lai. How do you know about my signature move? All unique techniques in the world, once I see them with my penetrating fire, will no longer be unique. To be able to reproduce someone's unique technique just by looking at it. However, just as she was about to release it, he almost pierced Chen Lai. In Chen Lai's eyes, a red light suddenly flashed. The penetrating fire instantly copied the movements of Chubby's flowers and transferred J. He will use the flower movement and jade transfer technique. Taking advantage of the opportunity, she recalled what made him quickly draw his sword. However, Chen Lai again used the flower transplantation and jade substitution move. Shimen Shuishu in the form of a sword was already relentless and flying straight at her. At this decisive moment, Zhu Yan was able to use the heavenly demon disintegration technique, and the invisible sword successfully hit Chen Lai's body. This strike is too strong for me. Better to pass it on to this beautiful lady. Li then used the combination of the heavenly demon, forcibly merging with its body. At that very moment, his own hand snapped off from his body with a click. After just a few exchanges of blows, Zhu Yang was already seriously wounded. Since you are seriously wounded, I will allow you to attack me together. Shimen Shuishua did not waste time and unleashed his technique Hua Kuang Sword Doubt. 10,000 sword strikes instantly transformed into a giant two-handed sword. Suddenly he struck with the sword Heavenly Traveler, diving. The enormous sword energy pressed down on Chenlai's body, which creaked and groaned. But he managed to hold on despite the gravity, and sharply drew his long sword. However, at that moment, falling, Jian released all her silk ribbons and entangled him with them. At the same time, Shimen Shuishu pointed downward. The gigantic invisible sword, filled with terrible sword energy, instantly accelerated the fall, and Lai took the full force of the blow. The gigantic invisible sword cut his body in half. This moral sect looks majestic and divine with its masters among the elders. If only your opponent did not exist. You would probably laugh at the end because the army is being gathered for 1,000 days. Your death by this sword was not in vain. Chenlai absorbed the life fire of the Legion of Flame, and the halved part of his body instantly healed. The force, seeing the 3 elders, broke through and wounded them all. Drawing in the state of Asari, Elder Jushin could not hold back a sigh. Even 3 against 1, they had no chance against General Chenlai. This time, if God does not help them, they face complete destruction. I do not know if God can save that divinely immoral sect, but if it is him, then he definitely can. The tension in the hearts of Shimen Shuishui and others finally subsided. Above the square appeared a figure holding a beautiful woman in their arms. In his embrace was none other than Wan Fen, Yimu Qin. Van Fen then ordered the system to help the elders below by healing their wounds. The wounds on Yigu Qing and others healed instantly. Students, seeing this, quickly approached to greet him. Who is this with you? This is a long story, but first allow me to greet General Chenlai. Did you injure people of my divine immoral sect? You personally announced that in this great gathering for demon sealing there were no restrictions. Even if I killed the prince, I did not break any rules. The crowd raised an uproar, calling Wang Fong an idiot, because they believed he had effectively declared war on the Solar Flame Empire, and no one could understand his actions. I just wanted to watch a good show, but you dragged me into this, so I agree. Anyone who dares to harm the people of my divine immoral sect will have no mercy. Wang Fen directly applied his divine palm, preparing to crush him with one strike. He already knows that there may be a bandit on his divine palm, because the insightful fire he just used is a law that allows mastering any techniques and skills, and he has already entered the mystical revered sphere, where he can see the laws of heaven and earth. He only half belongs to the sphere of mystical reverence. At most he can be called a semi-mystic. If he is not a true mystic worthy of reverence, then there is nothing to fear. And the crimson avatar of Buddha crossed his arms and pressed the long phone. Now the elder brother will treat you together to speed up your recovery. You are all too kind to me. This is a manifestation of deep brotherhood among disciples. The elder brother is very touched. Sect Master at the peak of cultivation of the Mystic Emperor will hardly have a chance against Chenlai. If they break his palm technique, he will have to use shifting flowers and transferring jade to give him a chance at calmer tack. And even with the physical constitution of the mystic turtle sage, this will bring about my demise. At the same time, the crimson palm of Buddha, which had clashed with Wang's fangs, suddenly cracked. Then a golden mystical aura burst forth and shattered the blood-red statue of Buddha. My cultivation level is higher than yours. How were you able to break the divine palm of my Tathagata? Even if you can master my Tathagata as a divine palm, there are things you will not learn. From the fragments of the shattered blood-red statue of Buddha, a small golden dot of light suddenly appeared. The one who broke the avatar of Buddha turned out to be the shore beyond the Firefly. The shore beyond Firefly returned to Wang Fong, still radiating a powerful golden glow. I underestimated you, thinking you were hiding such an interesting trifle. When he spoke, a bright red sinister snake emerged from his long sword. I have ones like that too. The blood-red snake stretched for several dozen meters. The long sword instantly transformed into a giant blade, and he brought it down on Wang Feng's position. The hands of Tathagata Buddha blocked his path, grabbing the long blade. You celebrate prematurely. At that moment, fierce black tongues of flame burst from the long blade. The curse of the fire dragon is woven into the laws of the universe. It can cause your mystical aura to dissipate as soon as it appears. Without the support of mystic aura, any technique is like a river without a source. You are on the brink of death, and you still care. When this last incense stick burns out, the competition will officially end. Depending on the thickness and length of this stick, it should burn out in about 15 minutes. I must hold on until this incense stick burns out. Only when the system pays out rewards will I have a chance to turn the situation around. The incense will burn out soon, but your life will definitely be shorter than this incense stick. The curse of the fire dragon made Wang Fong mobile. At this decisive moment, Fetty suddenly rushed forward and covered Wang Fong. Fetty screamed in pain and spat out a mouthful of blood. I was told to look like a mystical turtle sage, so if I don't step out to block, no one else will. The other students realized how serious the situation had become. Wanfeng immediately grabbed Fatty and threw him onto the shore behind the firefly to block the path. However, when the Shorbisky firefly struck the long blade, it was easily deflected. Although I was struck by the curse of the fire dragon, I did not expect even the shore behind the firefly to suffer. It was then that little Wu jumped out from the side and resolutely stood before Wanfeng and Fatty. She could not deflect the long blade that Chenlai swung. The next second, the long blade dispersed, and little Wu fell to the ground, seriously injured. The injuries of the elderly sister are very serious. My pills do not help. Wanfeng anxiously asked the system to quickly heal little Wu. The system reported that the points set by the host were exhausted, so healing was impossible. The demon seal and the great assembly will end faster than one incense stick burns. I will soon have the assigned points. I want to advance some of them. The system replied that the rules do not allow his request to be fulfilled. A second later, little Wu's chest began to glow with a bright golden light. Then a strange, shining golden flower slowly rose from her body. But the demon of the dark slaughter seemed to remember something and exclaimed, "Your disciple carries the treasure, the flower of the yellow spring Shorbion. And when her life is in danger at death's door, the disciple can awaken the flower, after which every time the mistress is wounded, the flower will draw the surrounding mystical aura of heaven and earth to heal her. And the more serious the wound, the more aura will come. And when the mistress is fully healed, her cultivation level will significantly increase." Hearing this, the members of the Divine Immortal sect quickly gathered around little Wu so she could absorb the mystical aura faster. In a short time, the terrible wound on little Lu's body completely healed. I was right. The yellow springs of the Ling clan Shurbion flower are located in little Wu. Sect Master Wang, let's make a deal. If you give up the yellow spring Shurbion flower, I will spare the Divine Immortal sect. The yellow spring shore is on the other side. Flowers grow there. I absolutely cannot give this up. Seeing the small wounds healing, everyone finally sighed with relief. The elder sister's wounds are healing. That's wonderful. She will be fine. Sect Master Wang, giving one life for so many people in the Divine Immortal sect, made a profitable exchange. Tell me, where are you waiting? The already wounded Wanfeng felt a surge in his body. At that moment, the just recovered little Wu immediately stood up on her feet. The sect master gave me life and avenged me. I, little Wu, am ready to give the yellow springs that lie beyond the flower. This Divine Immoral sect is really well trained. The disciples are very intelligent. This makes things much easier. What right do we have to call ourselves a Divine Immoral sect, if we must sacrifice the lives of followers to survive? Hearing this, little Wu was so moved that he could only hold back tears. My husband did not fail. I have a system of tricks. If I cannot protect my people, I will be a disgrace to all transmigrants. If your cultivation is not higher than half a step to the level of the mystic worshipper, you will not get rid of this curse. Unfortunately for you, in this life you will never step into the realm of the mystic worshipper. Clapping his hands, the avatar of Tathagata Buddha appeared, enduring the burning curse of the fire dragon. The Buddha avatar constantly burns and is destroyed. It seems the sect master still cannot tame the curse of the fire dragon. The curse began to devour the body of the Buddha avatar, and it started to shrink. Soon the giant avatar was left with only 2 hands. You concentrate your limited mystical aura on your palms to deliver the final blow. In a second, the hands of the Tathagata Buddha avatar suddenly clasped and directed towards Chenlai. A terrible wind from the palms instantly swept across the entire area. The difference between the half-step mystic venerate and the peak mystic emperor is huge. The long object in his divine palm was powerful, but it was still broken by one strike from Chen Yi. The incense stick behind you was smoldering, and the breath of the palm accelerated its burning. When the incense ran out, it meant that the great gathering on the Demoness Terrace officially ended. Even if the competition ended, it does not mean that you have to remove the curse of the fire dragon. Then he directly ordered the system to use 100,000 points to exchange for 100 chances in the lottery, and started pulling. And this time he drew cultivation parts of all his elders, so many that he could not count them. Instantly, a huge mystical aura flowed into his body. The soaked mystical aura destroyed the curse of the fire dragon attached to his body. Wanfeng immediately became fully healthy, and his level clearly rose. I just rose to the level of Mystic Venerate. You are only at the top of the Mystic Emperor level, and Dante even touched the shadow of a half-step to Mystic Venerate. That Master of Divine Immoral Sec is even stronger than General Chen Lai. So no one can annihilate the Divine Immoral Sec. You are the Elder of the Heavenly Heart, and want to destroy my Divine Immoral Sect. Do not rely on others. Do it yourself. To the Sect Master Wang, I was joking. Even if I had such power, I would never destroy the divine immorality sect that entered the body of the matron. There were no injuries. Instead, she felt that the mystical aura around her began to swirl violently. Absorb enough mystical aura, rise to the level of mystical reverence, and then you will be able to annihilate my divine immoral sect. I really can rise to the level of mystical reverence, and then in cooperation with Chen Lai, I will be able to destroy the divine immorality sect. You absorb it so greedily, as if you really want to destroy us, but unfortunately your body cannot withstand such an amount of mystical aura. The matron noticed that her body was rapidly increasing. Sackmaster 1, explain what is wrong with me. I cannot release the mystical aura that I am absorbing. I only accelerated the speed of absorbing the mystical aura, but did not accelerate the speed of its release. The matron now felt unbearable pain, and her body continued to expand at an increasing speed. In just a moment, her body was torn apart by the enormous amount of mystical aura. Sectmaster Wang killed a powerful expert with a single simple breath, so the realm of mystical reverence is truly so terrifying. But this trick did not work on Chen Lai, because he could manage without breathing. The terrible energy of the blade easily shattered against a piece of wood Wang, which Feng kicked. A piece of wood can repel a half-step venerated mystic. Is this the power of a venerated mystic? Even any follower of my sect can easily defeat you. I will believe it if you say that there is no equal to you, Sect Master. But to say that I am worse than some disciple of your sect, I categorically refuse. I want to see how Miramar Key Realm can defeat a half-step mystic venerate. Before this terrible strike, Mu Yunfei only desperately directed mystical aura and met the attack with his long sword, but the sword instantly shattered. Impossible that I cannot even defeat a significant sphere. Chen Lai was completely shaken. Entering the early mystical venerated realm, one can either strengthen or weaken losses. When you attack an object, it creates a corresponding reactive force. I enhanced this recoil, so even a strike on a piece of tofu will seriously injure you. The legacy of demonic cultivation Yifeng comes from me. I personally taught him. Recalling the scene of Yifeng's transformation, Monk Wu Nian narrowed his pupils. I went to the ancient land of Bogapad, because the demon of dark slaughter was sealed here. And even if I released demonic aura during demonic training, I could blame it on him. If you practice demonic cultivation, why don't you have traces of demonic aura? After each seclusion, I first seal all the demonic aura into a talisman to contain it, because the seal for sealing demons serves to lock the demonic aura. When he spoke, demonic seals flew from all present to Chen Lai. After years of persistent cultivation, the demonic aura in these tokens is now sufficient for me to ascend to the level of mystic reverence. I always hesitated, because if I relied on demonic aura to enter the mystic revered realm, I would become an enemy of the entire cultivation world, so I couldn't dare. When he spoke, the demonic aura on the tokens exploded and engulfed Chen Wei. A huge wave of demonic aura rose into the sky. Its power is incredible. Who is the main character here? Why are the tricks of these villains becoming stronger and stronger? The raging demonic aura flowed into Chen Wei's body. Emerging from the demonic aura, Chen Lai's appearance changed sharply. Now that Chen Lai has become a demon, to avoid the siege of the masters of the mystic Azure continent, he will surely kill everyone to silence them. The city of divine arrival will turn into a real hell. Joshin said not a word, turned around, grabbed her, and started running. All the unclear ones stepped back because of the demonic aura that burst out of Chen Wei. In the blink of an eye, they all perished from a blade enveloped in a terrifying demonic aura. Master of the sect. Those experts who fled returned and deliberately crashed into Chen Lai's blade because Chen Lai overturned certain laws. This means that Chen Wei's cultivation has reached the level of mystical reverence. Now his power has reached the late stage of the mystic circle of honor. A crack sounded from his body, and he sank into the ground as if a huge weight had suddenly fallen on him. But Chen Lai suddenly unleashed a mystical aura, desperately trying to slow down the fall. Only this push forced the disciples of the sect of divine immortals to retreat. You used the power of loss to increase my weight and make me sing. The next second, a powerful demonic aura burst from Chen Wei. He did not attack anyone else, instead pouring demonic aura into the sky. Younger brother, this is not good. You are usually so calm. This is not a disaster. Why are you panicking? Fatty, hearing this, quickly raised his head and saw that the huge sky was falling straight down. These are just clouds. They are so light that they cannot crush anyone. As he spoke, the collapsing sky had already reached the city houses, which instantly turned to dust at the slightest touch. The cultivators in the city immediately panicked, and Fatty finally realized the seriousness of the situation. It was then that the dark demon of slaughter propped up the collapsing sky with his staff. Other elders simultaneously used their special techniques, trying to hold it back. A huge avatar of Buddha appeared from the ground and raised its hands to support the sky. As expected, Sekmaster and the elders are reliable. They can even hold the sky when it falls. Chenlai, in the form of a demonic monkey, stood firm, freed from the restriction of the law imposed on him. He exploded with powerful demonic aura and rushed into the sky, flying above the head, above Buddha, and above the falling sky. All sect points are spent. Will my sect of divine morality really be destroyed today? Beloved, I have a way to help you with Fi Chenlai. What is it? The shore of Yellow Springs beyond the flower, and the shore beyond the firefly. Their names are very similar. Both come from that shore. As soon as someone obtains the yellow spring flower of that shore, and gives it to the one who has the firefly of that shore, they can create the most terrifying body in the world. The mystical firefly truly beyond the body. There are so many bodies in the world. Why is the mystical firefly, which goes beyond the body, considered the most terrifying? The shore of the mystical firefly beyond the body supposedly allows mastering the power of life and death, and subjugating the shores on the other side. When the mystical firefly appears, it can bury heaven and earth. It is an unstoppable power of life and death, the most mysterious power in the world. Only a certain body structure allows mastering it. To obtain the mystical shore of fireflies beyond the body, one must first obtain the yellow shore of the spring beyond the flower. To get the yellow spring beyond the flower, the small will must first die. I will protect little Wu, even if I have to use all possible means. Wang Feng was forced to use flower movement and jade transfer. He put his body in place of the little Wu's, and he was caught by the demonic claws of Chenlai. You are already in the mystical revered kingdom. Why do you still need to steal the small fragile yellow springs behind the flower? The yellow spring coastal flower has a special ability, and if I eat it, it will completely hide the demonic aura on my body, so no one can stop me from taking it. Then he cruelly slashed Chenlai's body with a giant sword, leaving a large wound. In response, he slapped Xiao Shilong so hard that he vanished into oblivion. At that moment, a golden pearl suddenly flew out of the air. He immediately used the explosive form of his 10 mindless forms. When the mystical aura activated, the Zen pearl emitted a golden light. But Chenlai spat a burst of demonic aura towards Wu Xiangsheng. But just then, a crescent-shaped saber suddenly fell from the sky. A strong blow hit Chenlai's hand. This was the third expert summoned by Wang Feng. Ding Pen, known as the demonic saber. Ding Pin again slashed with the sickle-shaped moon saber, using the divine ability, Divine Saber Slash. First came Dongfeng Bubi, followed closely by CS Xiaofeng. Dongfeng Bubi attacked first. Numerous cold sparks shot out. Small stitches passed through Chenlai's body and forcibly stitched his limbs. Meanwhile, CS Xiaofeng attacked with all his might, using simultaneously the destructive force for the earth, the shock of the heavens, and the trembling of the sky and earth. The terrible energy of the sword not only cut him into pieces, but also constantly burned his flesh. Retreat quickly. He will use the heavenly demon combination against you. Dismembered Chenlai suddenly separated his parts, and in a moment surrounded Sei Xiaofeng and Dongfeng Bubi. Both had no chance to escape, and were forcibly merged by Chen Wei. Chenlai instantly completed the heavenly demonic combination, and after merging with the two masters who were half a step from mystical rank, his size instantly increased. I thought that a war of attrition would seriously harm him, and at least reduce the gap between my men in Chenlai's lands. But because Chenlai can overturn laws and turn harm into benefit, on the Mystic Azure continent, there will be no divine immoral sect. Chenlai trampled every member of the divinity and morality sect. Seeing how Chen Wei's massive body turned into jade before his eyes, he froze. I just summoned 5 elders to force you to use the heavenly demon decomposition, so that the firefly could stealthily infiltrate your body and use the jade petrification seal. Seeing that his body was about to fully petrify, Chenlai involuntarily roared. In just a moment, the once mighty Chenlai became a jade statue standing on the ground. Probably, the firefly returned after completing the mission with the jade petrification seal. Until we kill him, no one will escape from the city of divine arrival. We sacrificed several elders, and it still wasn't enough. Then I will try to destroy his divine sword. Chenlai's petrified body instantly split in half. This stunned all the disciples of the sect of divine immorality. In a moment, the ground around exploded with a loud rumble. Grabbing little Wu and seeing the murderous look in Chenlai's eyes, she realized that this time she could no longer escape from the demoness clutches. At that moment, Chenlai tightened his grip and crushed little Wu's body. When little Wu died right in front of him, Wang Feng felt unbearable pain. As soon as little Wu fell, the shore behind the flowers suddenly appeared from her body. The dazzling golden flower completely separated from her body and hovered in front of Chenlai. I just boasted. But if the divine immoral sect survives by sacrificing the lives of its followers, we have no right to call ourselves a divine immoral sect. Earlier, the Master's younger sister asked me that if anything happened to her, I should bring you the yellow source sure beyond flower. So now I, as the older brother, must fulfill my promise. While speaking, Fetty used moving flowers and jade transfer, substituting himself with the Shorbian flower. A second later, little Wu's body on the shore behind the flowers began to quickly dissipate. Seeing that the fat man moved to grab the shore behind the flower, Wang Feng immediately wanted to stop him. Before he could say a word, Fetty's body had already disappeared, and the shore behind the flower instantly appeared before him. You dared to use moving flowers and jade transfer to foil my plans. You deserve to die, Sect Master. I don't know how much longer my turtle sage body will hold. Please, do not let Junior's sister's sacrifice be in vain. Beloved, only by consuming the yellow spring shore beyond the flower and obtaining the mystic firefly shore beyond the body can you defeat Chen Lai. The yellow spring shore behind the flower immediately turned into golden light and flowed into his body. Instantly, the energy from the yellow spring shore passed a full cycle through the body of Wang Feng behind the flower. With the flow of energy, Wang Feng's body became increasingly crystalline, and the golden runes in the air around him also began to constantly merge into his body. Chen Lai immediately launched an attack to interrupt his absorption. Instantly, dense golden light folded into a huge golden fist. With a light wrist movement, Wang Feng's golden fist struck Chen Lai's face. Chen Lai, feeling sharp pain in his face, could not hold back a scream. The blow was so strong that the layers of Chen Lai's body split into 5 parts. Is the power of the mystical shore of fireflies outside the body capable of killing a peak revered mystical master with one strike? He spoke, and the mangled Chen Lai became whole again. Fortunately, I used the power of loss to reverse life and death and resurrect. As long as I have peak cultivation as a mystical reverent, you cannot kill me. Then I will deprive you of the peak cultivation level of mystical reverence. Then I will kill you. When he said this, the dismembered remains of Chun-Li on the ground quickly reassembled into bodies. Soon, 5 more Chun-Lis appeared from the air. I used the power of life and death to turn 1 Chen Lai into 5 Chen Lais. When he spoke, a terrifying golden ray shot from the tip of Lung Feng's finger and pierced all 5 Chen Lis. With a single wrist flick, the golden light immediately cut through 5 lines on the chin. The golden glow did not fade, it began to spin and transformed into a large golden circle. I do not understand why this happened this time. I cannot reverse life and death. Perhaps because I was divided into 5. 1 Chenwai has cultivation at the peak of the mystic revered. But when it is divided among 5 Chenwais, each only attains cultivation at the middle level of the mystic revered. When your cultivation falls from the peak of the mystic revered realm to the middle stage, you can no longer recover what was lost. The shore on the other side of the firefly immediately understood Wang Feng's intention. Countless Sure Beyond fireflies, created by the mystical body of the Sure Beyond firefly, immediately rushed at Chen Lai. On the shore beyond the fireflies, their bodies were torn apart. Chen Lai never understood what kind of monster he was dealing with until death. Wang Feng slowly descended from the sky and reactivated the power of life and death of the mystical shore of fireflies outside the body. The next moment, little Wu, who was considered mortally wounded and dead, suddenly opened her eyes. It seemed like a dream. Although I resurrected you, treasure of the Lin clan, I also absorbed the yellow source, Sure Beyond flower. For me, little Wu, resurrection is already great fortune. The yellow source, undoubtedly better than the flower, can only be fully utilized in the hands of the sect master. The elders, who were overthrown by Chen Lai, also stood up simultaneously at this moment. Thank you, master of the sect, for resurrecting us. You died for the divine sect of immortals. Even if I had to descend into hell myself, I would resurrect you. Even Zhuxiang and Zhu Qing, who were killed by Chen Lai, were resurrected by Wang Feng. Resurrecting the dead. Such a divine ability exists in this world. Master Wang, why are you willing to resurrect us as well? Accept this as thanks for the platinum VIP card that was given to me. Today my divine immoral sect has gained glory. If the entire audience perishes, there will be no one left to spread its fame. A person is needed who can defeat the recognized Pete Mystic expert in this Solar Flame Empire. Probably only the Emperor of the Solar Flame would dare to provoke this divine immortal sack. The ranks of civilians and military awaited the entrance of the Emperor of Sunblaze. He was the Emperor of the Solar Flame Empire, its Solar Emperor. Today I have summoned you all to announce the beginning of a national war. This time the Solar Flame Empire has encountered a powerful enemy, so it is necessary to gather all the nation's strength to deal with it. First, they destroyed the Legion of the Long Scale and the Marquis of the Long Scale in the Starshine Mountains. Then they killed the prince in the ancient land of Bogapad and destroyed the Fire Legion. And finally, he even killed General Chen Lai, who, thanks to demonic cultivation, rose to the pinnacle of the mystical level. Your Majesty, was that the Empire of the Divine Wind or the Empire of the Blue Clouds? Perhaps they united, but the Emperor of the Solar Flame shook his head. It is only a rebellious sect in our empire, the Divine Immoral Sect. One squad can destroy our 2 leading legions under the command of General Chen Lai. Since the founding of our Empire of the Solar Flame, we have declared national war only on other empires. Does this mean that this Divine Immoral Sect has the power of a state? At the same time, Wang Fen returned to the Divine Immoral Sect and gathered everyone. The Emperor of the Solar Flame personally leads his army to assault the Divine Immoral Sect. Then the people from our Divine Immoral Sect will also die. We believe in the Sect Master and in the Divine Immoral Sect. Then my Divine Immoral Sect must confront a nation equal in strength to one sect. If we win this battle, from now on, neither the Empire of the Solar Flash nor the entire continent of Mystical Azure will dare to challenge.